Hey everyone, hi, welcome to another episode of Synth Geekery, episode 290, I believe, according to this spreadsheet here anyway. How's your week been, guys? Let us know how your week been in the chat. If you're live, we're streaming on Twitch and YouTube at the moment. There's no TikTok. For some reason, we're still barred from TikTok. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. They mustn't like synths. I'm not sure. Anyway, please let us know where you're from in chat. We've got these gentlemen here who are our stalwarts, the pillars, that hold up the Colosseum. We've got Daren. Wave your hand, Daren. And then Andy. Wave your hand, Andy.
Yes.
And then Ian. And then Chris has been permanently waving. Yeah. All right. We'll get to say good day to those guys shortly. But so far, so good. Feedback's been good about doing the How's Your Week Been segment afterwards. A lot of people are doing... What it was about, if you guys want to know, is 25 minutes of the show is the average viewing time. So that means we've got to kind of punch through the most important stuff technically in the first 25 minutes. Normally I would say I don't give a shit, but these people probably think they're important. So let's give them what they want. Anyway, quick, they are here in chat. Hello, chatties. We will come back and say good day to all you guys, but do make sure that you stick around because there's a fair bit happening today. And also, don't forget to, if you do want to be part of the show, we have Zoom. You can join Zoom. There is one person already in Zoom waiting to come in, and that is Mr. Steve. So I put him in as guest number 1. By the way, I will chuck the Zoom link up in chat. I don't know why people need it. It's the same link every week. I guess people forget. That's fair enough. I guess, you can't remember stuff. There's a lot to remember, isn't there?
Bookmarks, people.
Yeah, I mean, people have got lives, important things going on.
Some of us are going to see now.
Yeah. Pin that. There you go. It's pinned in chat. There we go. And you guys have got to type it manually if you want. Look, I do believe the best way to do it, by the way, is with your Zoom app. That would be my recommendation. Do it that way. Guest 1. Cool. Now, let me fix it up so that Steve can join us in that bottom right corner. Give me a second. I have to do this manually, guys, because if I don't, it's all wrecked in the show. How are you, Steve? You there? Good? You working?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you fine. That's good.
Good.
Everything's working. All right, cool. Let's get stuck into the show now. We've got Steve in. There's still 199 spots left. If you guys don't think that there's only 6 spots here, we can add more in. All right. So if you guys want to join. Right. Let's get stuck into the show. First cab off the rank is, Steve snuck a big $50 in. Thank you very much, Steve. Guys, you need to remind me, and when we get to Saturday Sonority, Steve has a question for us all, and I think it's a great question, and we're going to use the Brains Trust to help Steve out with his question. I've probably got the right answer, but and I've already had a chat to him, but he actually is very interested in finding out what everyone else thinks about it. So do remind me when we get to Saturday Sonority. And obviously, if it's too late for Steve to stay up and watch it, bearing in mind, Steve, you get an extra hour's sleep tonight because daylight savings officially finishes in Australia on tomorrow morning. So, by the way, if you guys don't know, we don't observe daylight savings here in my city of Perth, which is in Western Australia. Same with Chris. Everywhere else in the world wants to observe daylight savings, and some people have clocks going forward and some people have clocks going backwards. It just depends on where you live. Easiest way to deal with this, guys, is to use what they call UTC. If you use the UTC clock, all you need to do is just chuck that into Google and convert it to your local time. And if you actually subscribe to the YouTube channel, it will locale the time that this stream is on to your local time, and you'll never ever get it wrong. So yes, I know for some of you guys are watching it an hour later, and for some of you guys are watching it an hour earlier. So that's good for Steve because he gets to see the show when it's not too late over in the eastern parts of Australia. And I guess it's good for you guys in the UK because you're watching. I mean, it's definitely good for Andy. He gets an extra hour's sleep over in.
I had longer time for
Fran.
lunch.
There you go. So it works. It works well for everyone. But for me, I just can't change the times because I've got family, and it's just too hard. But anyway, let's get stuck into it. We're going to go first with. I think we'll do funny side first, and then we'll go to the next segment after that. Let's go. Yes, indeed. Like I said, there's 2 spots in the bottom right-hand corner waiting for you. This is... okay, so we had Brian on the show last week from Robots Are Red. So I just had a little mental blank then. And he did these 2 panels for an April Fool's Day joke. And they actually really liked them. And now they're actually going to be selling them. So sometimes... Sometimes things work out for you. So good on you, Brian. Well done, mate.
Cool.
I tell you, the modular community is really deep.
Yeah. Yeah. Think of the local fountain in your square. That's how deep they are. Yeah. Let's keep going. So yeah, I thought that was pretty clever. Next, still not a player and still not a Juno. Absolutely. Good on you, Behringer, with your deep mind. I like that one. That's actually pretty good. Next, now you can get the Yazoo dolls. I don't know where I saw this. I thought, oh, geez, quick, get a screen grab of that. This is actually really clever. Good old Alf's only got 1 synth though, because Vince has got them all. Vince hogged all the synths.
and they're not compatible anymore. They won't stay on the same shelf together. They don't get along.
Indeedy. I like that. It was good. Nice, decent amount of AI used in that. The new 2025 Teenage Engineering Forest Noise Amplifier. Just what you need. Yeah.
Yes. That meme creates itself almost.
Yeah, just lie in the middle and see what happens. Go deaf if you want. Not a good idea. Anyway, what else we got? We have got this. This is how you felt after Korg released a multi-poly VST version 3 days after you bought the hardware version.
Ooh,
Feeling green. Research. I'm feeling green, everybody. I'm Kermit the Frog here.
No,
keep going. Robbie wanted to fool everyone during the week because it was April Fool's week, and wanted to make everyone believe that he bought Eurocrack. Robbie, we know how much you hate it, and that is definitely not from 0 to hero in 5 seconds for you, mate. It was a dead giveaway, but no, definitely got a laugh. Good on you, mate. I enjoyed that one.
I did too.
Yeah, I really can't see him spending about $16,000 on Eurorack overnight.
That is not an entry-level system.
No, not at all.
Yeah, that's like an Andrew Wong setup there. Yeah, that's...
It's done good though. What else we got? How it feels when you realise you went from one hardware synth back in 2010 to I need to buy a bigger place for all my synths in 2025. Yes, there's an old photo of Keanu Reeves there. Yeah. But guys, if you saw this meme and you're thinking he's right, go back to last week's show and we have ideas for you on how to build your synth studio. In terms of scale, size of the house, size of the studio. Just go back to last week's show and it'll be there.
Yeah.
Yes. Now I think that's it, if I remember rightly. It is. How many do we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. Chatbot time. Okay. While I get the chatbot happening, we shall... Oh, what was that? Oh, the chatbot wants Windows admin rights. What the hell? It's going to hack into me. Anyway, let's... we'll keep going with it. Now, I think what we'll do is we'll head into news, I think. And I'll ask you guys in a minute about the memes because I actually need to set the poll up. I haven't had a chance to do it yet. Should we just do it without the chatbot? Yeah, or do you guys want to wait?
Sure.
Do you guys want to wait 5 minutes while I just quickly... I'm just waiting for the chatbot to start up. It's like It's got 50 windows I've got to close. Okay, let me do it quickly here. Poll. Synth memes. Option 1.
It was actually a more famous Sadcano image they didn't use. So
Option 1 was Brian's module
panels. Yeah.
panel. Option 2 was the player. Juno player. Spelt the way you'd think. Then option 3 is Yazoo. Actually, I shouldn't say option 3, that's option 2 because it starts at 0. And then we've got Teenage Engineering. They're always in there. Kermit the Frog. Kermit Frog, that'll do. Robbie. Surely that wins. And Bigger Studio with Keanu. All right. Start bot go. There we go. So read the instructions, guys. It says exclamation mark vote, no spaces, and then after the word vote put a space and then the number that corresponds to your favorite meme. And I'll just quickly go through them again. We had, oops, what the hell? Not that one. What the hell is that? Not that one. We had okay, there we go. That one. Robbie, Kermit, Teenage Engineering,
3,
Yazoo,
2,
player,
1,
0,
0.
panel. Chuck your votes in. Let me see if voting has been working. Oh yes, we're having voting. Robbie's paying everyone to vote for him right now, so don't know how that's going to work. I'll let that run for a couple of minutes and we'll see how we go. Guys, keep voting. We're going to start running the news segment while you guys are doing that. Someone can just cut and paste the instructions again if someone forgets. Here we go. Yes, indeed, it's time for the news. Yes, there's 2 spots left if you guys want to join us and talk about the stuff this week. We've got things to talk about this week, so it's those 2 spots that are there. There's more than 2 spots to join in the show if you want, but those 2 spots are definitely first in, best dressed. And Steve's already taken the carrot for one of them because there's going to be some products this week that you guys already know about that's been released, but we have got some really interesting discussions to make about them. I mean, I guess for me, starting with this one is because how many sucks of the Sav does Behringer want to release one product? The answer is 3. Well, on my show, at least, anyway. Geez. Anyway, finally they've released it. I don't know how many years away before it actually hits the shops, but apparently it's left their warehouse already. I'm hearing it's about 3 months away before it's getting the Datoman or something like that, 2 months or 3 months or something. Anyway, wow. We do have a new video from them, which was nice of them to do that, I felt. But before we do hit the video, I just wanted to mention one little thing for me. And that is just to remind you guys what this is and what this isn't. So if you guys don't really know what an Oberheim SEM voice is, then go look it up on Google and come back and rewatch the show. Because basically this is what it's based on. So this is based on the Oberheim SEMs. They're basically the first polyphonic, really analog synthesizer modules that ever came out. Really, I mean, I'm probably going to get shot down for saying that, but I think it is anyway. This particular one here is it's actually got the 2 voices. You can see module 1 and module 2. So it's like getting 2 voices. And it is based on the Oberheims of the day. My question for everybody here is how much, you guys probably heard me say this in Discord, how much of this is actually cheap, Chinese knockoff, rip-off, let's get it to work with, I know how to do electronics on a cheap budget, versus actually recreating the actual real circuits that were in the Oberheims and let's get the tone and the sounds perfect as we can. So that's my question
Starting
for
with
the world.
circuitry,
Yeah. Because I find that we've been tricked before, haven't we? MS 101 / MS1, and a few others
have
actually. Yeah. So does anyone want me to go over what the specs are of this? I don't think we need to, do we?
No.
I think the biggest thing on this that has probably got a few people chin wagging about is that you can actually chain these things together, and it does support chaining up to 16 units, which means that you can get 32 voice polyphony on this. I don't know how good that will be. Technically 32 voice polyphony. I'd say it's 16 voice polyphony with 2 oscillators per voice would probably be the correct way of saying it. If I understand this rightly, they're using MIDI to polychain it, right?
Yes.
So I don't see how they can get
ports,
32 voice polyphony. You can
Well,
trigger
multi-timbrality anyway.
Yeah, so you could definitely trigger 32 SEM modules, right? But you're only going to be able
Different channels.
to play 16 notes in that. And that's just my theory. I don't know if I'm right or wrong here, but if they're using MIDI to do the round robin polyphony type setup with polychaining, that would probably be my thoughts. Behringer have done the polychaining before, so if anyone's got any experience with their polychaining, let us know in chat. Anyway, guys, should we watch the quick video? Not the 11-minute video, just the quick part. And we'll come back and we'll have a quick chin wag about this. Don't want to spend too much longer on it. But here we go.
So, if you're a lover of pure analog vintage synthesis, then this one will certainly be speaking your language, with some of the most lusted after oscillator and filter tones, and inspired by one of the most iconic synthesizer expander modules of the 1970s. This one is pure analog fire. It's the 2XM. So when it comes to analog circuitry that stands the test of time, few are as iconic as this one. A synthesizer expander module born in the 70s, whose influence still resonates today and is considered a hallmark of analog synthesis. And the 2XM faithfully captures this legendary tone and finally brings its magical character into the modern era. So the 2XM features not one, but 2 fully featured voices of this legendary expander module, with each having its own dual oscillators with saw and pulse wave, with pulse wave modulation, oscillator sync, dual envelopes, LFO and modulation routing. There's also noise generator and external input in the mixer section, and of course they both have that character defining filter that oozes that famous warmth and analog charm, with the added versatility of having low pass, high pass and band pass modes. And the best part, it packs 2 independent synths into one sonic monster, turning it into a creative powerhouse for even the most humble of synth tweakers.
So I'm going to have to stop it there because the demo is bathed in effects and we can't really hear the raw sound of this thing once again. So I know there's other demos of this thing lying around. Anyway, I thought it's a good time for us to have a chat about this. Okay, who wants to go first? Quick chat about the 2XM. Who's buying one? Who's not? Who doesn't
I'm
care?
not buying
I'm
one.
getting on.
It's a good price though. 240 quid, £239 at Gear for Music. Expected delivery 3rd to the 5th of October. But no, I don't need one of these.
Yeah, $279 US is what I've been told is the Sweetwater price. So Toman or Sweetwater price, I think it's $279. I think the street price is around $250 though for the US people, which does kind of
That's
probably
going to
won't
change by October, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll probably change. Chris, you said you were going to get one.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I am, because I'm just purely seduced on the sound in the demo, which might make me the odd one out, because some people have been unmoved.
No, Chris, I'll go with you there. I know they put a lot of
Yeah,
effects on it.
I just thought, the combination in the demo, the combination of the sounds plus the LM drum is just music to my ears, and I have an LM drum, and it just made me think, oh yeah, I'd love to have that sound in here. And I don't have any other Oberheim sound in the studio. I don't even own an Oberheim plugin VST or anything like that.
All right.
So it's probably still a bit novel to me, sound wise. Maybe that's part of what's interesting here, is it's new to me.
So have you plugged yourself into researching what's in this electronically? Have you sort of seen whether it's actually a real creation?
Only as far as I do have the SEM VCF from Electro. What are they called again? Electrostorm. G-Storm Electro, sorry.
Yeah, G-Storm Electro. Yep.
Yeah, they've got their SEM module, and I have that hooked up at the moment and I'm playing with that. So I had a good look at it. I know it's not necessarily exactly the same circuitry as the original, but it was interesting to see that, it had some cool audio branded chips in there. So that's a Behringer product. And a lot of the other chips were very well-known, commonly available op-amps. Perhaps some of them a little harder to get these days, but so I don't know if that is representative of what's in the filter, but it seems just architecturally that the filter is kind of a basic filter. I've also
it's two-pole, isn't it? 12 dB.
It's two-pole, and it's got the different band pass, high pass, and low pass outputs independently mapped through to some clever crossfading, and then in this module it's actually got the individual available even when the crossfader's selecting something else. But yeah, I've also had a good listen to Tom's interview with I've forgotten the man's name, Why We Bleep. His Why We Bleep episode podcast of Alex. Did an interview. I recently just happened to watch that whole interview with Tom, so I know a little bit about his story. And it's interesting. I mean, we're all very romantic about audio circuitry. He's an engineer, and he didn't necessarily have the romance in him to begin with. He just had a need to create a product, and he just looked for what circuits were around and available to him, and he made a few inspired decisions, which at the time he didn't think were particularly inspired. Modest man he is. So it's very much a product of when it was designed. So in terms of what techniques were used that are very hard to reproduce now and may or may not be in Behringer's recreation, it's hard to say. But it's not one of those designs which really leans heavily into really, really odd old technology. It's not like using valves or anything like that. It's not like using matched transistors that were only available in those little tin cans, but only available to the military. It's much more in that era, I think, where we're reaching for tools and not really worrying about their fidelity. We're more interested in their function. At least I think I might be paraphrasing Tom there, but I've got the vibe that that's what he set out to recreate. So unfortunately, I don't know the answer to your question, Rance, which is, does it have the right stuff in it? I don't know. It's a good question and very hard to answer.
And is that question
Until
really?
we see one.
I mean, that question may not be important to a lot of people. They might just think, look, if it's near enough, it's good enough for me, and then great, on you go. If you're one of those people, though, other than the hardware versus software argument, I would suggest that perhaps maybe you should look at a VST, because if you really think is near enough good enough, I feel like there's some VSTs out there that do the Oberheim stuff very well. And one of them is GeForce, the guy, the GeForce guys. So definitely go check that out. Anyway, before we go on to any further comments, I just want to stop the poll. Sorry, stop the poll.
Oh yeah.
And the vote that won was Robbie with 6 votes. He actually only just won though. Teenage Engineering came in second. Him honest, then. Yeah, came in second with 5 votes. So good on you, Robbie. You got your meme to win for the week, which is good because when memes do win for the week, they get shown at the end of the year. So they do go into the draw for the end of the year. So that's important if you do win a meme.
Yeah, you've got to come up with a prize, Robbie.
Yeah, not only that, but like if you actually design a meme yourself, and there's a few people that have done it in the past, like I can remember JX3D doing one very, very recently. If you do design your own meme and it wins the best, like people vote for it as being the best meme of the week, you could actually at the end of the year win meme of the year, and it gets its own article, own show, everything. So yeah. Anyway, segue to that. But anyone else want to make a quick comment on this because we can move on to the next otherwise? We all good?
I'm just curious, does anyone have any Behringer stuff with polychain that actually works? I don't have any Behringer polychain stuff, just regular stuff. So,
I'm trying to think of what the last thing was that was polychainable.
My DSI polychain stuff is great, but I don't know about the Behringer stuff.
I don't know about the Pro 800. Maybe the
no, there was something else that was polychainable. And I'm trying to think what it was. I can't remember anyway. It doesn't matter.
All Behringer monos are polychainable. So does that mean the Moog
cable
Model D?
Possibly.
I've already got that.
I've
already got that. So I haven't got anything else from.
Yeah, we'd need to fact check that. All right, cool.
I'm just curious because otherwise I'll just use OBE from GeForce. So.
Well, this is what I'm saying. If the guts of this isn't like, if they're not going for that real, recreation to the point where they're trying to get the sound almost identical, then really what's the point? Unless you actually think, okay, I love this layout. Like Chris, he likes it. So for some people it works, and for some other people the sound might be the only thing you're after in the VST. If it's near enough, it's good enough. The VSTs are getting pretty good.
Yeah.
Biscuit has said in the chat that the Crave Model D, Wasp, and Neutron, all of them will polychain.
Neutron was the one I was thinking of. I remember them. Yep, that was the one I was thinking of.
They polychain, but do they polychain well? That's what I'm curious if anyone actually tried it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we were asking before, wasn't it, Andy?
That's the $1 million question.
Has anyone tried it? Is the question.
Exactly,
the only thing I've ever tried polychaining with. Actually, no, this is not the only thing. There were 2 things. One was the Slim Fatty. I actually at one stage owned a couple of Slim Fatties, and I polychained them. I had 3. And they actually did a reasonably good job. I wasn't that blown away by it, to be honest. It was a bit of a pain getting them all in tune and things. And the other one was the Tetra by Sequential. You could polychain
those. The DSI stuff is amazing. Yeah, the Tetra stuff is good.
And I thought the Tetra polychaining was spot on. Like that, they actually did a really good job.
Evolver and Tetra do a great job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, one of the founders of MIDI. It's not surprising that he implemented.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on, guys, because this product here is going to be popping a few eyebrows. Unfortunately, I don't have an audio demo, and I kind of wish these guys did one. I looked on their SoundCloud. We were looking early before. Nothing there, which is kind of a shame because they've popped these out. They've got articles in Synth Anatomy, Tom's website. They're on a few other blogs. They're here on my show. We're showing these things. We're interested, guys, but let's have some audio demos. And the reason why I'm really keen to hear these is because these look like a hybrid type module where you've got, especially the Wave 6, you guys can see the Wave 6 on the left is actually a polyphonic oscillator. So let's tell you about these anyway. I don't know if you guys know much about EMW. They're called Electronic Music Works. They're based in Brazil. They've had quite a lot of Eurorack stuff out in the past. I think we've even shown something last year that wasn't too long ago. Anyway, so they did, in February, they did sort of sneak a peek at some of this stuff they were developing on their Facebook page. But let's talk about the first one, which is the one on the left, the Wave 6. The Wave 6, as it says on there, is actually a polyphonic, a 6-note, obviously, polyphonic oscillator. It does play 6 notes simultaneously. It's MIDI controlled. You guys can see the MIDI input jack next to that central dial up the top under the screen. And it features 128 wavetables stored in its internal memory. And it's integrated with, internally, it's got an ADSR VCA, so it's a envelope VCA, which does have your standard attack, decay, sustain, release for generating sound. It does have CV input for, I think it's CMod, MMod, gate, and out down the bottom. So I would suggest that one of them would be pitch and the other one would be envelope control based stuff. It actually doesn't tell me, but that's just a guesstimate from me. There's another thing there. You can actually do wave cutting, which is kind of similar to pulse width modulation. So you can see down the bottom you've got there's a wave cut knob and a cut mod. And then you've also got a morph knob and a morph mod, which lets you morph the waveforms. So this is actually quite an interesting oscillator, I feel. The interesting other part about it is that because it's MIDI controllable, you can actually adjust the pitch bender range in the menu through the encoder, and you can also adjust things like what the modulation wheel can do with the LFO frequency and things like that. Now, this is what's going to blow me away. It's only $198. And that's got my tail wagging right now. So I definitely want to hear it. So we've reached out to EMW during the week. Haven't heard back from them. If they do, I know the guy probably doesn't speak English. If he does, he's probably going to have to use Google Translate or whatever. But if he does get back to me, we'll try and get you a video as soon as we can on this. And you might remember last week we showed a product last week and I was disappointed that it didn't have a video. The guy reached out to me during the show, and it was too late for us to get it on. And I did say to him, look, we'll show it this show, so we'll give him a second suck of the sav at the end of the news segment and we'll show you that. So hey, he made an effort, so I feel like we should reward him. These guys, let's give them a chance. Now, let's just talk quickly about the other two. The MIDI 3 is an analog character oscillator bank. I have a feeling, this is just me, I could be wrong, I have a feeling these are all digital stuff here, guys. That's even though it says analog character, I feel like it might be like a VCA. Sorry, a VA is what I meant to say, not a VCA. Anyway. It's got 3 independent oscillators, which you can adjust waveform, octave, fine tuning, volume separately for deep sound shaping. It's got 6 waveforms: triangle, mini wave, ramp, square, pulse 1 and pulse 2, including their own unique analog style variations. Now, I'm interested to find out what the hell they are because, they've mentioned it. The OLED display is interesting as well. It's got a built-in parameter adjustment menu system with a single encoder button setup. You have built-in glide and LFO, full MIDI control via MIDI. You can see the MIDI input on the bottom left. And it's got an internal memory where you can save oscillator settings on this. So this is a menu divey module, right? So if those people don't like menu diving, this is not for you. But for those people who want stable analog sounding oscillators and they don't want to tune them and put them through quantizers, Andy, this is good for you, mate. $158 for that. So that's even cheaper than the one on the left. So very, very keen to get some more information about that. The last one is the noise bank. You guys guessed it. It's 142 different types of noise. I love this stuff. Now, because it's probably a digital thing, it's not. I don't have a problem with digital because digital you can use samplers and
especially with noise,
things like that. Especially with noise, it doesn't really matter, does it? But it's divided into 7 categories. You've got basic, filtered, vowels, process, phased, cycled, and decay. Now, I'm not sure what each of those categories kind of mean in their own rights. I mean, some of them you can make a pretty educated guess. But I would suggest that basic would have your coloured noises in there, like your reds, your browns, your whites, pinks, right? That'll all be in there. And possibly even in the filtered would be another, because technically those colours were different types of filtered noises, weren't they? So anyway, the trigger input allows you to synchronize triggering of cyclic or decay effects. So you can see there's the trigger input. And additionally, it has a modulation input for controlling the frequency of some generated noise, which I love. I love noise that can follow a volts per octave frequency. You've seen the guys where I've shown the SID chip, and the SID chip has a noise that responds to frequency as well. $158 for that as well. There you go. Anyone want to make a comment on the EMW modules here?
Hard to read that middle display, isn't it?
Do you want me to make it a bit bigger for you?
Some of them are.
I need varifocals for that one, I think.
There you go.
I think you're right, though. The middle one in particular. In fact, I think really the font sizes are definitely too small. I mean, when your fonts are smaller than your graphics on your panel, you should consider that a danger sign. And you need to make a different decision.
Even with HP, Chris, that second one is, I think it's only 6 HP if I remember rightly.
So it's even smaller.
8 HP. 8 HP.
So that's not even real size.
Yeah. So the one on the left is 10 HP and the other two are 8 HP. I mean, that means that's going to be tiny, right?
Yeah. Bit small, huh? I agree.
Tis a wee bit small. Anyway, who agrees? Like, release products, right? But release it with some audio.
Yeah.
At the very least. You don't have to do a video, just some audio.
Especially when you've got 3 different flavors of something. It's like, if there's ever you need to kind of like drill down to the differences between them, that's where you really need those videos.
Yeah.
But, if you're excited to get them released, or someone's pressuring you, your accountant for, say,
well, it might be Super Booth.
Get this released. Yeah.
So my gut
There's always
feeling...
time for a hint of audio. Just make like you said, a simple audio demo.
Yeah.
Like 2 minutes.
Yeah. Some
if you
people
can't put 2 minutes into your product. Who wants to put 2 minutes into buying it?
Yeah. I agree. All right, let's move on to the next, and this is probably going to get us talking for a while, this one. And that is the Warthog by Atom Synths. This actually came out midweek, and I was very, very interested in this. As you guys know, I'm a modular eurorack fiend, absolutely. But what really kind of pricked my ears was this claim on here that this is a eurorack system which offers total patch recall. And DAW integration is a side bar on this, and there's plenty of modules that have got DAW integration already, which is cool. We'll get into that in a sec, but let's just go through a few of these. Now, I think the best way to sort of tackle this for you guys is if I bring some photos up. There is a video. We can show you the video, which I'll do first, but I'm going to bring some photos up, and then I'm going to zoom in on these photos and explain a few things about this. Because I've actually spent probably a good 3 or 4 days researching this as much as I possibly can. Haven't heard back from Atom Synths. I have told them that we're showing it on the show. They never got back to me. I guess they're probably busy. They are going to be going to Super Booth, so anyone who goes to Super Booth will be able to check this out. So anyway, let's go. Let's start.
Robbie's checking it out, apparently.
Yeah, let's start with the video first. I did see Robbie's show during the week, so yesterday. This is the video. Let's go. It's only a minute. Right. That's what you've just heard is actually the Warthog itself. That is definitely the audio from this synthesizer. So I noticed that there was some comments on the Pro Synth Network show where they said, I'd love to hear this thing. Well, you've heard it. If you watched that video, you heard it. There is actually the audio from it. Just so you know too, Atom Synths have already got a single 3U synth module block that you can buy. I forget what it's called, but it was about 2,100 euros, and it's not this. So if you do go to their website and check it out right now, there is no pricing information on the Warthog yet. I do believe that they will be releasing that information really, really soon. So audio-wise, we've heard it. There's some other demos as well that we can check out if you want to. Now, let's dive into this a bit. There's a bit to unpack with this. This is a pretty big system in its own right. I mean, if we're going to split it up into the various different parts, I just want to kind of show you guys that the first thing is we should have a look at it in its entirety, and then we'll go and visit some of those sections. So let's go and have a look at this in its entirety. What I suggest we do is we look at things like, in this particular system, you've got 3 oscillators. Let's talk about what they are in a sec. You've got 2 multi-mode VCFs and VCAs. You've got a mod matrix. You've got that central unit, which we'll definitely be talking about in a minute down the bottom. Modulation tools, obviously that's going to be your LFOs and sample and holds and stuff in there. You do your dual VC or voltage controlled envelopes. So there's 2 sets of envelopes on each, so that's 4 envelopes in total. You've got a mixing section, and then you've got this awesome looking wooden mod wheel thing on the bottom right. I mean, this thing has got a very good, sensible design about it. Now, the only thing that kind of would be negative from my point of view is that really this is just a 3 oscillator synth. So if you want to look at it in terms of the reality there, that's probably its downside. It's not like a polyphonic synth. It is, it's not doing anything sort of groundbreaking there. But when we start talking about what these oscillators can do, and then all the patching capabilities and everything, that throws that sort of negativity out the window straight away. So before we dive into that, I do want to talk about the feature sets of this thing. So the feature sets are, it does have preset sharing. Now, a lot of this stuff is actually handled by the central unit, that central computer, that's that bottom left module. We'll go and have a look closer in that in a sec. But that actually enables you to save and share presets with other users. How it does that, I'll show you in a sec how it does that. But that gives you the ability to foster and collaborate with other people around the world, and it gives you expanding possibilities. Because this system enables you to save, patch, and modulation settings and things like that, that gives you the ability to then recall that and share that with other people around the world and actually have some awesome sounds that you can set. This is kind of groundbreaking in Eurorack land. It's not groundbreaking in synths, but it is in Eurorack. When you think about it, this is control voltage with digital memory on the back. The total recall part is the big part. That's what I just mentioned. So save and recall all knob positions, all switch settings, all patch cable connections and configurations, giving you the effortless recreation of complex patches down the track. So pull your patches out, plug them back in, save it, pull them out, do something else, save it, and away you go. And you can recall this stuff. I'll show you how that works in a sec. Now, the other thing too is it's got snapshot functionality, which allows you to create and store snapshots of different sound settings, allowing for instant changes between. This is really cool. So this enables you to actually morph between different settings of your entire system here. That's huge. So that's where so we've got the patch recall, right? But let's take that a step further. Now we can morph between 2 patches in this entire setting. So this gives it the power that I think a lot of people have been thinking, right, now we've got that, that's cool, we can go further with it. And obviously the last thing is the DAW integration. Now we've seen this before, digital audio workstation, being able to DC couple stuff from your DAW back into this, send out control voltages, LFOs and other things through your digital audio workstation. MIDI control over all the parameters as well. So they're full MIDI enhanced stuff in there. All right. Now I did mention before that we will talk about a little bit about this CPU. So let's go to here. Let's have a look at it. I feel like this thing is kind of insane, right? I mean, obviously when you're looking at this thing, what do you see? It's the core of this thing, isn't it? It's the central unit. It's a module that supervises and interfaces all the tasks that allows you to control over the other modules. And we'll go into how that kind of does it just with me sort of sleuthing through this and kind of a guess, right? But you can see on here you've got an OLED display with 4 buttons across the top, which then have a little graphic that indicates that that's part of the menu on the screen. And then the same for the bottom of the screen, another 4 buttons underneath that. And then you've got your power render, your endless encoder, and your value control, which would be your data entry things. Now, but on the right, this is the kind of interesting thing. At first, when I first saw this thing, I thought, oh, okay, what they've done is they've just made it so you've got a little mod matrix on the right, and then you have to patch those in to each of the modules, and that's all you get. That is not actually all you get. All of the modules have already the ability to recall and save and connect it into the back of this. This is extra stuff on the right. So these digital controls and CV controls that you see on the right, they are actually stuff that you can then connect up to your other gear. So isn't that cool? So they've given you stuff, but on top of that, they've given you more than what you need. And that also is connectable through to your DAW as well. Obviously, you can connect it through MIDI. You can see the lights there, and USB, and also Wi-Fi. I'll show you the back in a sec. You guys can see how it's all connected up. All right.
Sweet.
So that is pretty cool. Obviously, that OLED display is pretty decent. It's pretty large, and I kind of feel that's good. So in terms of that, let's give them a big plus. Right. Let's go back to this graphic here, because I kind of feel like this is what we need to pull apart. You guys would probably be in agreement here. So let's have a bit of a look-see. Where are we? Main. And let's zoom in a little bit, and we'll kind of talk about these oscillators, shall we? Let's talk about these oscillators here. You're getting, obviously in this, you're getting 3 of them, right? So what I've worked out is these have a central tuning thing. Notice how it's got that really cool graphic, looks like a piano keyboard. So that's the central tuning system. But that central tuning system is also based on, you know, your like your organ bars and things like that. It's kind of really quite intuitive how they've done this. On top of that, you've got wave shaping controls, you've got waveform selections, you've got a sync, sub oscillator, pulse width modulation, FM controls, and a stack more. When I'm looking at this, one of the things that you probably want to think to yourself is, how is this being controlled with the total patch recall? See how every single one of those CV inputs has a little LED light next to it? That means that every single one of those has the ability to be able to sense that you've plugged a cable into it. And not only that, but it also can sense what voltages and what modulation and things like that are going through that cable. So that is really, really cool. And then on top of that, any of the knobs that you see here, buttons that you press, they're all MIDI controllable. So that's your oscillator. This is insane, right, guys? What else can we talk about? Let's talk about, where's my thing gone? Let's talk about the multi-mode filter and VCA. So what is this? Well, this is actually definitely a multi-mode filter, because you can see on the left, it's like a circular knob which corresponds similar to the design of the oscillator, but you can see you've got 4L2. So you've got a 4-pole and a 2-pole low pass. And then you sweep around to a band pass and then sweep all the way around to a high pass. So this is kind of what you would expect with this, you know, multi-mode filter, right? But I kind of love how there's those little push buttons on there. So around that circle, right? So that you can just go straight to high pass. You can go straight to band pass or 2-pole or 4-pole without you having to sort of adjust the knob, which means that would be MIDI controllable, right? So that's the whole point of this system. Everything's kind of controllable through MIDI or through UDAW. What else can I tell you about it? It has Q-comp, and apparently it's a resonance type filter which can be played as a volts per octave input. You can see down the bottom left, you got volts per octave input on it, so you can play your filter, and also has drive and other. I mean, look, we can't go into every single little bit and piece that's in here, but I definitely feel like that's a pretty cool filter design, if I don't say so myself. I actually really like it. I don't know if it's analog, if it's digital, I don't know. Okay, so that part of it I don't know. But to the right of it, we can definitely check out this weird looking thing, the Matrix 428. What the hell is that? That is a matrix control. And I kind of feel like it's pretty, when you actually had a bit of a look at it, it's pretty simple. What you've got is you've got a whole bunch of multiple ins and outs for routing and connectivity that can be stored and selected. And you can see your ins and outs down the bottom. So you've got 6, I believe, on both sources. And then you've got 4. Yeah, so you've got 8 on those sides as well. So that looks pretty handy. And then that's on top of the internal stuff that you can do with the module. So this is extra matrix routing. Modulation tools is the other thing. Oh, I keep clicking off that thing. Sorry, guys. The modulation tools is down the bottom here. And that I mentioned before, it has your LFO. It's a syncable LFO with variable waveform shapes like you'd want, rate, glide, math controls. So it's got a bit of a make noise math thing going in there. I guess that's probably going to be your functional stuff. Hey, Chris. So it's got your glide, it's got your sample and hold. Portamento is in there too, which I think they've called, what are they called? The portamento on this thing.
Glide.
VC glide. Yeah, there we go. And noise is in there as well. And sync and more. So there's a whole bunch of stuff in there. So that's pretty cool for modulation control. I think it's pretty featured. I mean, just as a module on its own, I'd like that. All right. Let's have a look at the envelopes. There's 2 of those, and each envelope has 2 ADSRs in it. So one would be envelope 1, envelope 2. You'd expect that with a VCF and a VCO type thing, but there's 2 of them, so that means you can route them to multiple different destinations. I don't know, this is the question I had, I don't know if you can route things to multiple destinations unless you can use the mults. There's a mult thing, I'll show you where that is, it's up the top left. There's a bunch of buffered mults up the top left here. But I don't know if they are, if that buffered mult thing is just so that you can duplicate stuff. I don't know if it's kind of built into this logic, because I feel like the logic stuff has little LEDs next to the connections, right? That's kind of how I feel. So we'll see how we go. The mixer itself looks to be pretty rudimentary with 2 channels. Oh, by the way, so just before we go off to the buffered mults, there were 2 banks of 8, so 16 altogether. I'll just quickly show you that again. So there was 2 banks of 8, 16 altogether. That's why it's called multiple 16. So that's there. The mix booth is a 2-channel mixer with aux, 2 aux sends and returns. Now, I actually discovered this before I actually looked at this mix booth module by looking at the back of this thing. So I think it's a good idea to, we'll check out the back of this because you guys will be surprised.
Yes,
but before we do, last thing is that sexy looking mod wheels. These mod wheels are recallable and controllable through that central unit and MIDI. So you can actually send and record the mod wheel use. So you can manually, record what you're doing with the mod wheel.
CV recorder as well.
Yeah. So they call it real-time control and recording of modulation. That's what they're calling it there. All right. So they're all the modules that are in this thing, right? So let's have a look at the back, like I mentioned before. And the back kind of gives away a lot of the stuff that I've been talking about and why. So let's zoom in. The first thing, I guess, that we can notice here is that this thing is expandable. You've got 25 pin DIN expansion ports here, male to female. So I guess this would be daisy chainable in some sense, right? That would be my guess. Cascade, yeah. Next thing next to it is Ethernet, which is the Wi-Fi and Ethernet connection to this. So that's where you can connect this thing up to the internet and share your data and stuff like that. Also, it connects up to DAW. Yep. MIDI, DIN, in and out. USB is the connection to get the other firmware updates and things like that, as well as MIDI connection that has class compliant MIDI, I believe, as well. Now, this is where I noticed about the auxiliaries. And I thought, where's the auxiliaries on this thing? And then I saw the mix booth module, which I showed you before. So on the back, this is where you set up your returns. So you got left and right returns and a single mono send. I love this. I love mono sends and stereo returns. It's one of my favorite things.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
Yep. And I don't know, that send could be a stereo, like a TRS cable send as well. I'm not sure. There was no information that I could find on that. But do note that the output is left and right. So it is a stereo output in that sense, 2-channel output. Obviously the phones is on there. And also just for those playing along at home who like to know about how these things are powered. So this does have your standard kettle plug power with a fuse in it. So the power supply is
UK compliant, yeah.
Yeah, and also you do have a ground control for the US people if they want to put ground on this.
Ground control to Major Tom.
Absolutely. Let's go back to us because, I've given it a fairly good run over. What do you guys think of that? Now that I've explained a few things to you, what do you guys think of this?
It looks a bit limited, really, doesn't it?
What would you say it's limited, Daren? Or are you just joking?
I was just joking there.
All right.
He was being sarcastic.
All right.
It almost makes me want to get into modular.
Yeah.
So
That's
with
good.
the full recall
Like those-
functionality,
Credit where credit's
I do
due.
like those. Sorry, go, Chris. Yeah.
Just gonna say credit where credit's due. In some ways, like that massive 5000 series behemoth that from what's the name, Analog Solutions.
Yep.
Has sort of created something massive beast with modulation. And all that. This is kind of on the same level. I know there's going to be a controversial thing to say, but when you think about it, this person has not just designed the system that's going to exploit this kind of patching and recall. He's gone through each individual module and made sure that every little thing is modulatable, controllable, switchable in some way digitally. Because to be able to recall it has to be digitally controlled. So this is like, you imagine, think about the days of analog synthesizers when they progressed to digital control internally. So, analog synthesizers were able to recall patch memory. And the way they used to do that was they took an analog synth and gave it digital control with digital to analog converters. Someone's doing this here with modular in each individual module. And also, they've had to come up with a regimented system that's like, you can see how they all follow a certain design ethos and design pattern. And that's probably not just for manufacturing, it's possibly also to try and deal with some of the complexity we have here, because with this kind of system, at least everything is the same. So you might, when you click with one module, you'll probably click with all of them. So I think that's the thinking behind it. I'm putting words into this guy's mouth, but that's just what I'm seeing from it. So just from a start point of view, before we start talking about whether this is something we want, something we can afford, something that is going to be the future of modular synthesis, I just like to appreciate the work that these people have put in.
It's insane.
So just from an engineering point of view, I'm just saying, wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Now we can talk about details.
Yeah.
So
Andy,
a
let's
couple
go to
things. So Buchla 200E has had some of this functionality for a long time.
Correct.
With some patch storage for certain functions. So it's not unique in that respect. But what is interesting about it is to do it fully like this, not only is a lot of planning, but it must be encoders all through the system. And as you know, with encoders, if you don't use the best quality encoders, or you have a bad batch or whatever, or might not last as long as you'd hope, like with the DSI stuff, where we had the potentiometer swap out boards on the Polyevolver and a bunch of other stuff. That's something to think about. Is it going to track well if they are all digital encoders? Is longevity going to be an issue?
Yeah, how many years?
Because pots are really nice. They feel good. They work really well. So
Replacements,
there's a
spare
there's
parts.
a replacement issue and longevity and more cost potentially, unless they use some kick-ass encoders. Then it could be okay. So.
I think that's it's a good point, Andy, but I don't think it's a huge concern for me, because I feel like they can be replaced if that's the issue. But I think
but it's also knob feel though, right? If it doesn't track well as an encoder, isn't quite as good as a pot usually, right? That's another issue. When you're actually constantly tweaking it, does it feel as good?
Yeah. I doubt most of these pots are going to be encoders. I imagine they're just going to be standard linear pots that put out a voltage.
Yep.
Which is a pretty
So how are they
standard thing to
tracking
do.
them properly then?
So
just voltage into many input channels on a.
No, you can get those.
Converter.
You can get those dual-purpose potentiometers, which have the analog side of it, and then they have the digital pickup on it as well. So it actually has multiple.
Okay.
So you can turn a pot.
So that it's continuous rotary and still have positional.
Yeah, and I mean that can be a fixed position pot as well, and it still has the
But
digital
it's just
tracking on
the
it.
legending. I mean, if you look at some of the close-up pictures again, you notice that almost all of the pots have a conventional, 270 degrees to 90 degree swing.
They do, yeah.
Which suggests it is not continuous rotary.
Yeah.
But if they're pots and a preset is invoked, you have position of the pot stuck wherever it is. How does it override all that?
Exactly. You have knob catch-up issues and the bane of
catch-up issue. You have relative versus global position kind of stuff. So
I think
it's a good question.
A lot of those things are going to come out in the weeds, aren't they? I mean, you guys, we're not really going to be seeing this thing properly until people get their hands on it at Super Booth, which is not that far away when you think it's only about a month away, right? So Super Booth is going to be where we'll see it, and then I guess some people, hopefully we get some good interviewers at Super Booth asking the good questions when we're there, not just stupid, get some people who actually have some eurorack knowledge, and also some people who have some knowledge about digitizing circuits and controlling circuits.
The last thing we want to see is endless videos of someone saying, "Could you just explain why this is revolutionary?"
Yeah. Yep.
We get it.
So we know
also
why.
you mentioned
the
polyphony.
details.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us
You
how
also
it works.
mentioned polyphony. With that control center, you should be able to get polyphony, right?
Well, this is what I was saying earlier, Andy. I was saying it would be interesting to see if the patchability does have that sort of multi-timbrality in patchable sense. So, why is there buffered malts there is kind of, for me, it's the clue that it may be not, because they've got the buffered malts.
It's like the Oberheim 8 voice that has a little brain center that controls all the different modules.
Yeah,
So
correct. Yeah.
they could have done that with this too. So
Yeah. Well, it might. We don't know what's inside that module. We don't know. It could be a little Intel NUC in there. We don't know what's in there, right?
That's why I was a little disappointed when you said we look around the back, and I thought, we're going to see that behind the modules. No,
I was hoping that too, but no, they didn't. They didn't show that.
They have mentioned somewhere in their press somewhere that I think these are the guys. Every single input point is available on the back, so everything on the front is available as some kind of port on the back of each unit.
Yeah, I kind of felt like...
I think that's kind of how it works.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that was what they were sort of saying, is that this thing is all... You'd probably have some, like a CS80 type crazy wiring underneath this thing, right?
Yeah. Well, it'll be all nice, neat ribbon cables.
Hopefully it's just a little digital data track.
Time division multiplexing digital signals.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
But look, even aside... Sorry, Ian, you go first. You go. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I do think, not being the expert in this area, but I do love the fact that the oscillator tuning is that little keyboard. That is just genius.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
I'd like to see that on more conventional synths.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. Some good ideas here.
I actually thought the same thing, Ian. I thought the design of where is it? Let's go back to our little graphic here. What the hell's going on there? We'll do it this way. And here we go. The design of those modules. It's not just what this thing can do with the total recall and the digital thing on the back. I actually thought there was some innovation in the actual modules themselves as well.
Agreed.
Which has me interested because I mean, like, just a few things that I liked about it was that the oscillators looked almost actually playable in that sense, with the keyboard and everything on it. And then and then the filter, how you had those direct controls to the 2 and the 4 and the bandpass just by hitting the button, which I thought was kind of genius because in a more traditional sense you'd have to twist the knob around to get it to that spot. It might have a little notch in the knob, but I do like this sort of stuff.
This is the advantage of making an important decision, which is every front panel controller is just a data input.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to physically control any analog circuitry. It's a digital interface to an analog device.
Yeah, by doing that, they've actually saved space and cost for quantizers that have the piano on it. A lot of quantizers have that piano roll on them.
Yeah,
they're already built in, so it's already there. So,
and guys, don't forget, there's more connectivity on this on top of what you've already got. So you've got all those other modules that I showed you have got connectivity built into them, but then you've got this on top. And then there's 12 digital and 12 CV connectivity points here, which then you could interface in with your existing system. Obviously, it won't be two-way, right? It won't know that you've patched it in to certain ports on your other non-compliant modules, but it will definitely, like if you kept records of what you've sent that to, I'm sure there'd be some sort of note-taking. Labeling feature.
You might have you appear to have plugged this patch cable into some other module other than ours. Would you like to give it a label now?
Yeah. Which is cool,
Clippy.
right? Yeah. Absolutely. Get out the Dymo label.
If it printed that,
Ranzee, did you say there's no hinted MSRP on this?
No, there's no price. Like I said before, there was 2,100 euros for their 1 row 3U similar sort of HP. I think it's like an 84 HP type thing. So, I mean, gathering by that, someone suggested on the ProSynth Network show that it could be double. I would say it's more because that central unit's gonna hold a bit of a kick. So I would say this. Don't quote me, but you're going to be looking at least 4,000 euros minimum. I feel for something like this.
I thought 5 to 7.
Yeah. You're probably right.
That central unit's got to be at least 1,500, 2,000 or something like that. So.
It's going to be probably around 4 to 5.
Yeah.
But look, we don't know, and I guess maybe they might announce it at Super Booth. Hey, wouldn't it be cool if it was only 3K? Right.
Absolutely.
And then people will probably start going, oh, okay, actually that's not too bad when you think about what this thing can do. Guys, is this the future of Eurorack? When we've seen little attempts at this with Beetlecrab, with Tip Top Audio do the art series, right? So there's some interesting innovation
slightly
with
different,
that. Different take on it, isn't it?
Different problem.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different problem.
Bert, you're
I also like the little organic touch, and like Nord, we have the wooden parts on it. That's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah. Tell us. We'll jump onto Zoom, guys. If you have a big opinion about this thing. Whoa, not that button. Yeah. Whoa, what happened there?
Cool, I haven't seen that one for a while.
Yeah. I wanted that one. Tell us. Jump into Zoom and tell us why you love it, you hate it, you don't care about it. Tell us why. Jump into Zoom.
Is it not just a fixed architecture synth, though? Really?
I mean, yeah, you're right, Steve. It's just a 3-voice synth, isn't it? When you strip it back, right?
A fixed architecture synth, though.
Yeah.
Because if it's like pre-wired and normal through, I mean, it's not going to auto patch itself, is it?
Well, they're saying that you can recall without actually having to put the cables back in. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it means that there's just going to be let's go back to that diagram again. I don't know if it means that these little lights on here, right, are going to flash and say, quick, put it in here. I'm flashing at you. You need to plug it in. Or if it actually does the electrical connection digitally, I'm not sure. That's they're the things that need to come out in the weeds when we look at it at Super Booth.
In the video, there was a strong suggestion that it was a, the interface says plug your first cable in where the orange light lights, and you plug that in, and then another light lights. Say put the other end in there. Then okay, next patch cable. It's a suggestion that that's how it works. But whether that's the only way it works, maybe they're just saying, oh no, that's if you really want to use patch cables. You don't have to use patch cables at all once you've used them once.
Yeah.
That could
I
be
do
their
like the
answer.
design of it though, and the way it looks. It does look awesome.
Yeah, it's stunning, isn't it? There's another thing about this that I don't know if a lot of people have thought about, and that is I think this has actually got a very big educational use to it as well. So when you've got someone who doesn't really know and understand modular synths and control voltages and things like that, and you've got a system that's flashing a light and it's telling you on the little computer screen, hey, in a nice little friendly message, hey, plug your cable from where the light's flashing to where the orange light's flashing to where the green light's flashing. So you've got some young kid who's learning this stuff, and he's going, okay, cool. Now when you've done that, you've just connected the oscillator to the filter. That sort of educational thing could be happening there. Might be a bit cringe for you, Chris, but
no, I'm saying I'm not sure I agree, because I think with the amount of complexity and visual overload that you get from something like that, I don't really think it would necessarily teach you concepts like that.
It'd have to be a stripped down,
simple
version.
Yeah,
more,
I think something like that, but with really simple visual style, where it's actually showing you what's on each module and what's connected to what. And
well, we all
it's
know
usually more better
in the
in
history.
education.
We all know the history of synthesizers. The biggest spenders of complex systems have always been universities. So if we look back at how Art made their first coin, how Moog made their first coin, they used to always sell their gear to the big universities. So let's see what happens anyway.
Yes, I'm not saying it won't be palatable and popular with universities. I just said I don't necessarily agree that it's a great educational tool in that form.
Yeah.
I just hope with the computer back end on this thing and the blinky lights you mentioned that you don't have to memorize blinking light patterns and colors for troubleshooting. That would be a nightmare. So
visual memory as opposed to muscle memory.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Anyone in the chat want to, like I said, want to make a point about this? Do highlight my name at Ranzee to just sing it out, and that way we can introduce your comment into the show as part of this. So yeah. What do you guys feel like? Do you think this is going to be a big seller? Do you think it's going to be a boutique product, or is this going to be a fizzle? What's your predictions on this?
Well, you're definitely going to need some money.
Yeah,
Rob a bank, Daren?
They'll have to.
Depends on whether the banks
They may have
are
to.
right.
They may have to sell a very cheap module with a little, like a coin slot in it, and you use it to save up. You put a coin in it every day.
Yeah.
And after 4,000,128 coins, you'll actually be able to afford. We'll send
Those
one to
modules are all screwed in separately, aren't they? So, I mean, can you take that module out and just put it? Would they be able to do single modules, or has it always got to be linked to the whole case, the whole unit?
Good question.
From what I understand, Daren, they may decide to open source the connectivity side of this thing, so that other module developers can make their modules that will be compatible with this idea. That's what I've heard. There was
most shared systems are swappable, but
just,
this one, who knows what the guts look like?
Just hold on a sec, guys. There was a comment in the chat from Steve Elbows. I just wanted to bring this up before we lose it. The thing I hated reading on their website was for the first 50 customers who purchase a Warthog, we give a lifetime guarantee, and then it talked about for the firmware updates and software updates and stuff like that. And he's saying, why? And he went on to say, why isn't this just given to everybody who buys it? I mean, I kind of agree. Like, you're spending a lot of money. Yeah. I feel like that was
probably... software subscription on modular. Watch out.
I feel like that was probably not a good start.
No, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Don't talk to Adobe about how to do complex and
don't talk to me. Don't talk to me about Adobe.
That's going to be an issue.
Everyone has.
You don't want to be down the tracks and you're struggling because the software updates just
Has
kill
anyone
everything.
recently tried to cancel their Adobe subscription?
I haven't got one. No, I've had one for years.
Yeah, well, if you go and cancel it, they'll tell you that you owe them a whole bunch of money, and you're like, what?
That's right.
What do you mean I owe you money? I just want to cancel this thing. And you look at the fine print,
Wow.
you've agreed to this annual plan, and then you have to pay out the rest of your annual, or 50% of your annual plan or something. It's complete raw. I know a way around it, by the way. There is a way around it. So if you're interested, you can hit me up.
Just
and I'll talk
don't
about it.
get involved in Adobe in the first place.
Hit like, and Rance will send you his.
No, I just
personal-
don't want to. I don't want to talk about it live on a show because it could get me in trouble. But there is a way around it. It's not illegal. It's just a way around it.
It's just a way.
Beautiful. Okay, well that's cool. So congratulations to Adam Synths. Like Chris said, I think that they should be patted on the back for the amount of work that they've put into this thing. It's actually insane.
yes.
So I really like. I wish them well. I hope they're successful with this because I do think it's a great idea, and maybe it might actually bring some more people into Eurorack that don't like having cables everywhere and things like that. I'm not sure. Maybe that might be the future of this.
I think it'll need to be cheaper for that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Can't but think though, it's
Trickle
just a
down
mono
effect.
synth with the Eurorack coat on.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I feel, Steve, is that some people can be superficial in the way they see these things. I don't see it as a mono synth. I see it as an immense modulation capability system here that you can actually
I've got that.
branch out.
But like you say,
I mean-
at the moment, you can only use what you've got in that rack. I suppose you use outboard stuff, but that's sort of, I mean, for what they've done, you've got to give them thumbs up for that. I mean,
Yeah, you don't have enough envelopes and VCAs to be fully polyphonic. It'd have to be paraphonic. So
Yeah.
I do like the look of it though. It does look amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Very metal panels and everything.
Yeah.
It's really high-end stuff.
You see, you'd like to buy some of those modules that they've got in the cat just for your own case, not to be, wouldn't have to be
Yeah.
all linked up.
Yeah,
just
the
for
oscillator
actual-
in particular. I'm drilling
I think it would work. You just wouldn't have the auto patching functionality, would you?
Yeah.
I think
what I
because everything's presented on the front panel anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
It depends on when you take the back off how it's wired up.
Oh well, yeah.
I guess we got to kind of think back about some of the history of synths and where people have taken things away from us, and we've by sort of community we've brought them back. And one of the things that kind of came to my thought here was, do we want to lose the patch cable from Eurorack and just have a virtual patch cable? And I actually don't personally, because I actually like the whole tactile thing of going that goes to there. And to me, it kind of reminded me of something. Do you guys remember when they took away the filter knob off of synths? Like, they made it so that you could only access the filter by holding down a button and then incrementing it up and incrementing it down and all this sort of
that's
stuff.
cool. You see, you can do that live.
Yeah. I mean,
You can automate it, and you can control it via lots of
we used to
more
get,
envelopes and
we used to
LFOs
get
than you
very
ever did
angry about
before.
that sort of stuff. So they've done it
Why
to
would
us
you
in
want
the
to control
past.
it yourself?
Yeah. So
that's why you have to buy a
that was the thinking.
controller, like a MIDI controller.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's hope they don't do that. Some people will be happy about it, but I won't personally. Okay.
Well, also the patch cables are also part of the performance. I mean, you can pull it out dynamically. I often leave some patch points hanging there but not connected.
Yep.
And you invoke it during the performance and pull it out again. And,
It's part of the electrical. What do you call it? Performance. It's actually control voltage. It's not just music; it's control voltage as well.
Or even finger tapping for trigger.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. I've done that
50
before.
hertz hum and 60 if you're in America.
And
Just need to make sure
45
everything's
if you
the
use your
same
tongue.
key.
Makes a good drone.
If you're off grid and you're running off an inverter.
We should keep going. What do we got next? Whoa! What the hell is this thing? This is the Clank. Say that word down the bottom.
Uranograph.
Uranograph.
Yeah, I would have said you
Yeah,
ran a graph and
You ran over a.
you ended up with a.
You
ran
ran
a
over
graph
a
and now you got a
fox.
sore foot. Yeah.
You ran over something. You ran over your compass in maths when you're doing your graph.
It sounds
Anyway,
like medication you need for stuff downstairs, but yeah.
Look, this thing is let's be serious, guys. This thing, I actually think is actually really interesting, and I'll tell you why. Because the guy that's developed this, I do have some photos somewhere of the chassis, and it's like a metal chassis on this thing. He's gone into this thing. I think it's about a 3-4 year bit of research that he's gone into this, and this is supposed to be an instrument that's playable from the point of view where you hold it in front of you and you put your hands in certain positions, and they have tactile controls, and then there's then more other controls further up which you can quickly reach. So the whole thing is supposed to be kind of playable, and it's an instrument. It's performable, right? But what it is actually a highly expressive microtonal additive synthesizer, and it's got a looper in there as well. It's designed for live performance, this thing. So this is really one of those live performance type instruments. Like we've seen them with the, Ian, this is kind of right up your alley, this sort of stuff.
Absolutely up my street.
Yeah. So what are you getting is you're getting a 5-voice synthesis core, which gives you complex sound designs with that additive type synthesizer style. It has integrated effects. It has a tape looper, which does spontaneous experimentation with that sort of looper sort of style, adding things and then keeping adding things, that sort of stuff. It's got save and recall systems where you can store and instantly retrieve knob and fader positions, keyboard layouts, and parameter assignments. It has an external integration where you can connect it up with external stuff, highly balanced preamps, XLR inputs, and things like that. And it does have a metronome built into it, so that helps you with the looper style. So let's have a look at this guy playing it, because it kind of does help us. And then I'll tell you the price, which may or may not surprise you. I'm not sure. So let's have a quick look at this guy playing.
Love the Japanese scale vibe. That's great.
Notice this is using a prototype.
Yeah.
You guys, I'll let you guys watch the rest of that later on. But you can see that graphic that's in the screen there is actually a 3D render. He is actually selling these now. You can get the pre-order first batch So normally these things are going to go for €1,940, but you can get the first batch for 1,552. So that's quite a decent saving if you're interested in getting one. And then if you miss out on the first batch, there's still a discount on the second batch, which goes up to 1,746. And if you miss out on that, then you'll pay the full 1940. Now, just one quick thing before I go to you guys to talk about it. I do want to mention that he has purposely designed this for microtonal cultural scales. So you guys did mention during the video that you heard some Japanese sounds and things like that. The reason why it triggered that is because he's actually done this on purpose. So it's designed so that you can explore those diverse worldwide sort of sounds on this thing, which really, when you think about it, does take us out a bit of that status quo with the traditional piano sort of style of tuning and things like that. So I feel like this is kind of where synths are going in a corner of the synth world. I feel like this is where it's going. But I do also like the fact that it's got the 5 voices in it, because it kind of leads to the way our fingers work. We've got 5 fingers on our hand, right? So I feel like that kind of works ergonomically.
And pentatonic scales for those cultures.
Exactly. Beautiful. All right, guys. You guys talk about it. What do you think of the Uranograph?
I love it.
The microtonal is cool. Yeah.
Go in first and then go next.
It's a pity I've actually bought a Terra. Because I'm sure there's a lot of crossover with what the Terra does and what this does to some extent. I mean, I wasn't blown away with the sound of the demo, but there again, it's a prototype, isn't it? So that'll get better. But no, I absolutely love it. I love the design of it, and I certainly want to have a go at it if I can ever get the chance to play with it at a show. I
think it's going to be at Superbooth.
I'm not going there, but maybe we might get to see it probably next year. If it's going to go anywhere, it'll be Synthfest probably next year. But no, I think it's definitely in my wheelhouse, and I'll add it I certainly want to add it to the list of things to play.
Just before we go to you, Andy, I thought just as more for Ian's indulgence, just have a bit of a closer look at it for you, Ian.
I've got the website up,
you can see the musicality, the decals on this thing. So they've gone down that path of someone with a bit of music knowledge will definitely feel right at home on this thing. Because you'll notice that there's notation on here with the looper that's at the top Signal left. Flow. Yep. Your note inputs down the bottom right, and then all your control, your synth control parameters and stuff in the middle there. And on the sort of top to the right-hand side is your connectivity and effects would be sort of up that way. So I feel like it's kind of a nice little design.
I have an accelerometer because there's a little design here and it says destination to tilt and size. And so there's obviously, there might be an accelerometer in there, which I wouldn't be surprised. But,
and this thing does have a metal chassis underneath. It's aluminium, so it's light, but it is a strong, rigid metal chassis. So it's built really, really well. I'll grab some photos off his Instagram. I'll show you it during his development. Now, Andy, I wanted to go to you because you wanted to make a comment.
Oh yeah, well it's clearly I don't know if he knows about the Terra, but you can see the curved layout of the buttons very much like the Terra, or like an iOS app called Celine that was out years ago that was really cool. For you just put your fingers down, they naturally sit where they're supposed to, and then you have another section for the other hand, and that one has the effects kind of modulation section separate, just like on the Terra as well. So they have that same kind of mindset where both hands are busy with some touch areas. And then plenty of stuff all around it to control it. It has the accelerometer, and Terra has a bidirectional, they call it a gyro, but it has a proper X and Y that's actually separate. So this might just be a basic accelerometer. It might be more kind of X and Y. Yeah. It's cool. And of course it's like rings inside there, right? So ring sounds great. Yeah. And you got the pentatonic options and microtonal options. I mean, he put microtonal and Terra for a reason, right? People like the exploratory stuff and the other cultural stuff. So yeah, they're in the similar wheelhouse, but this is also cool and looks a little bit more portable than Terra and maybe more durable because it's not wood. But so it's definitely if I had the money, I would get it right away. But
yeah, let's have a look at let's have a look at his
me too.
His dev photos are on,
at least.
they're on his website, so you guys can scroll down and you can see all these photos on his website. So he's gone into quite a lot of detail with his design. There you go. There's your reference to Uranograph there. Fantastic. Interesting.
Yeah, it's cool.
There was a engineer's, not exactly in joke, but you wouldn't know unless you did a bit. Oh, there you go. More engineering. Set of gauge blocks in the first, I think the second picture.
Look at that. Some of the concept designs there.
And a cat too.
Nice cat.
Yeah. I actually really think this is very interesting indeed. I mean, I know you guys are drawing similarities to some other products, and yeah, it does. I mean, a lot of stuff these days does have similarities, but I feel like I don't know. I never really bit into that stuff that you talked about, Andy. It never really it didn't excite me. I actually think it's probably just like ergonomics is a kind of a personal thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you're looking at something like when I bought that hand Sonic, for example, the hand tapping drum thing from Roland, there's been heaps of those sort of things out over the years, but that was the only one to me that made sense with where the pads were laid out. And if I was to finger drum, that's kind of the only one that ever sort of made sense to me. And I'm looking at this when I was reading this during the week. I kind of felt this kind of made logical sense to me as well. Like if I was to play this thing, right, and it was in front of me, like I could see myself putting this on one of those drum sort of stands, right, and having this in between my legs, sitting down on a stool and playing this thing, and maybe I might have my hand Sonic off to the side and I'm tapping on that and playing on this, and I kind of feel like that's going to be a cool little thing, in front of an audience, and you're going to get some interesting sort of.
Does he have strap lugs on it so you could actually wear it? Does he? I
don't know. You could probably check the website out, mate. Yeah, if you got a chance, have a check out. There's a stack of stuff on this webpage. Like I'll quickly scroll through it. Like it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. There's a lot of information in here, right? So if you guys are interested in this, check out the website definitely. Like you can go into each of these sections, like the harmonizer. It tells you how the oscillators are built. Tells you how the filter amp's built. It goes into the modulator and how that works. It goes into the FX and tells you what sort of FX he uses and how they work. It talks about how the decays work, the syncing, built-in reverb. You've got the way the looper works, how it's kind of tape relevant. It's really detailed. Really, really, a lot of thought goes into it. So definitely check it out.
Also, it's refreshing to see a synth demo that embraces the kind of Eastern, pentatonic scale, Asian kind of stuff. I mean, if you listen to my hardware jams, I'm no stranger to exotic scales and ethnic music. So it's awesome. That's great.
Agreed. All right. So, Clank, you've done this is 2 products in a row where I think, wow, and we're starting to see some stuff appear because I know Superbooth is around the corner. So we kind of feel these days Superbooth is the big synth show of the year, isn't it? They want to release their stuff for Superbooth. So yeah, and I think
Bookland Friends, it might be a Bookland Friends. You never know. So
€1,500 is actually pretty good, I feel, for something like this. When you look at the amount of development, the quality of the build, I guess it's probably just going to come down to what you feel it's how it sounds and what you can do with it. I mean, that demo was brief. There's more. There's other stuff he's done on. You can check his YouTube channel out. So, but then again, like he's just a developer. What he does with it, what you would do with it, could be completely different. I actually remember years ago when I first bought my MPC, not the MPC Live, my first MPC, which is an MPC 1000. I had this guy say to me, he goes, "Oh my God, I didn't know you could do that with an MPC. I thought these were just kind of like hip hop machines and all the hip hoppers used. And I was using it for sequencing and, all this stuff that you guys know what I do." And I just remembered that, it kind of, these little sort of bits of information that you get over the years from people, you kind of think back and you go, okay, yeah, people stereotype stuff, don't they, in their thoughts?
All the time.
Yeah. And it's until you touch that with your, your knowledge and your ability and what you're doing with it. And that's when, I always look at Jamie Liddell, right? He's an example of, to me, he's someone that reshaped the whole looper system, I never thought you could do what you could do with loopers until I saw some of his stuff. And I'm sure that other people have done cool stuff with loopers before. It's not like he was the first person in the world to do it. Do you know what I mean? But it was kind of like, that was my personal experience that I thought with him, and it was probably that other guy who saw me with the
guy made
NPC.
Endless as well.
Yeah. So
this guy's got some dealers. He's got Perfect Circuit in Burbank,
Cool.
Found Sound in Melbourne,
good.
Milk Audio in Rome, and Moog Audio in Montreal. So you don't have to buy it from them direct. It's,
Yeah,
To play with the Perfect Circuit. Mm-hmm.
Found Sound have the Australia tax problem, so we'll talk about that another time.
well, everywhere's got.
Yeah.
I mean, it coming over here now because I'm assuming are they in America, in the States?
No,
Circuit.
no. Clank is not. Clank is. Where did I read where he was?
Somewhere.
French.
Can't read it.
I can't remember where I read where he was. It's definitely in Europe somewhere.
If it's French, you're looking at it's the UK an import duty of what 60 to 80 quid probably, but still you're not having to pay the Trump tax.
Actually, you know what's interesting? We look at this. I definitely know this guy's European, but I can't remember where.
Yeah. Might be Italy then,
Italy.
because if he's got
Italy. On the bottom it
Yeah.
says Prato, Italy.
There you go.
is it right? Okay, right. Oh yeah, sorry, I've just seen that.
No, that's good. That's fine.
I have to admit, the previous synth we looked at, which was the Warthog by Adam Synths, that has been designed and developed in multiple countries. So there's I read somewhere that there's a guy in
Yeah, they talked about it.
Estonia or something, and somewhere in Spain, and it's kind of all over the shop what they're doing. So
They made quite a big deal of the sort of basically the EU, all these countries coming together and creates this, we are the best.
I think it's great. It's a great idea.
I think it's superb.
And you know what? If you don't live in the US, sorry, Andy, you won't be affected by any of these tariffs, mate. So
Yeah. I know.
I'm actually quite happy about that.
In Europe, isn't it?
Oh,
Well, you are affected if you buy American products, though. So
Yeah.
We don't have to, do we? I mean,
no, but I mean, sequential and Moog and
supply chain.
yeah,
Yeah.
Behringer.
No, he's
Yeah, well, just
Exactly. That's the point. All right.
That's how it's going to affect.
Let's keep
supply
going.
chain.
We got I've got a couple more things to show you guys. The first thing I want to show you is this little tiny little cute little isn't it adorable? This is the you guys would have remembered I showed the Tempera a while back, which is kind of
that
I forget there's a guy in our channel that's really big on these things. That it's kind of that granular synth thing, right?
There's a
With the matrix.
multi-channel granular synth, yeah.
Yeah. So this is basically just a little version of it. Like this is tiny, this thing. In fact, when I screenshotted it, you can even see my mouse pointer. That's how tiny it is. We will give you a little video on this, and I think we can come back on the other side and have a chat about it. Here we go.
Zuluk all over again.
I wonder
It's
if that's
craft work.
where you turn it on. This is Beetlecrab Audio's Tempera Mini. It's an up-and-coming compact version of the original granular synth, as you know, called the Tempera. It distills the expressive polyphonic synthesis capability of its predecessor into a highly portable form factor featuring a 1x1 touch-sensitive grid for streamlined interaction. Designed for the on-the-go soundscape creation, the Tempera Mini focuses on delivering immersive sonic experiences through a minimalistic, not wrong there, interface. What do you get? You get that 1x1 sensitive grid for deliberate integration. And basically TBA, but it's going to be price-wise. It's going to be at Superbooth, so I guess we'll probably find out more about it from there. But you can see in the video there'll be like a little USB connectivity thing to this. And then you'd have some sort of computer... like you can with the Tempera, you'd have some sort of computer manipulation and loading.
So it must have an accelerometer if it's small, right? So you can.
Hey, Ranzee.
Yeah.
In the chat, they're saying that you've been punked.
Yeah.
What we have.
They're saying this is an April Fool's joke. I don't know if they're right, but he's got a point.
Well,
Yeah.
if it is, there's a website that's still live. If I've been punked,
You've been punked well.
I've been punked really well.
Some jokes are elaborate. Yeah. So.
I mean, I can show you if I've been punked. Tell me why this is still live.
Yes, exactly. That's what I would normally use as a gauge if it's still there.
Well, April Fool jokes can go pretty far. I told you guys before about the electronics magazine that had, instead of a microwave oven, they had a macrowave oven, which was supposed to be a cooling device. And they had a whole write-up on it and a circuit and everything in an actual magazine. And it was all a joke. So.
I mean, they're going to a lot of trouble to do an April Fool's Day joke.
Think about it. If they were testing out a touch controller chip, wouldn't you make a little prototype like that? And you go, oh yeah, this works well. And then someone says, hey, you know that prototype we made? This would make an excellent April Fool's joke. Just saying. We'll see.
Well, there you go. You got me.
Yeah. Looks like it. That's what everybody's saying in the chat.
Well, why is that website still up then?
Yeah.
Joke's on them then, isn't it?
Keep the joke going, yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough. I got punked. Cool. All right, we'll move on. The last thing I wanted to show you guys before we finish up was the second suck of the sav from Precision Audio, Weston Precision Audio. Last week we showed you guys the module, the HV1, the hybrid oscillator, and we didn't have an audio demo. And Devin actually reached out to me and said, I've got a video, and it was just too late because he was telling me in the middle of the show, actually. So let's have a look. Here it is.
Hello everybody. Today we have a brand new demo video of the HV1 hybrid oscillator. Now, I know you're saying right now, Devin, you make a lot of oscillators, and that's true, but the time had come to make another one, and that's just how it is sometimes. So, briefly, what this module is a triangle core analog oscillator. So everything on this left side is analog. It has a triangle, sine, saw, and pulse output, FM input, sync, pulse width modulation, and volts per octave. The digital part, in addition to handling the buttons and screen things that you see, it reads the triangle from the analog core and then outputs a phase shifted copy of that triangle, which is turned into those same waveforms, sine, sawtooth, and pulse, with analog circuitry. And then additionally, that phase information is sent to a arbitrary wave table output marked WT here. That's kind of the whole essence of what this module is. So that covers the basics and the various outputs that we have. So as you can see here on the data, we have the coarse triangle and the triangle from the digital phase shifter, and we can adjust their phase relationship. Let me turn this reverb off. Okay, so yeah, we can adjust the phase relationship between the two up to 720 degrees. So this is a lot like the PAO phase animated oscillator that was one of my earlier modules, only there's not any limit. That plus or minus 90 limit is gone. Then you have this input is a phase modulation, and so I've just got an LFO going in there, which immediately makes the sound fatter as the phase interaction happens. I'll turn up the speed of the modulation. That's with a triangle as the modulator. Here's with a sine. And how about a sawtooth? And how about a square? So, kind of interesting sounds. This is not just, this is actually true DC coupled phase modulation. It's not like just AC coupling a FM signal. As I mentioned in my PAO video, when you use a sine as a modulator, the PM sounds a lot like 30 FM, which we can hear here. Now you'll notice that that affects both of the waveforms, and of course the PM only affects the stuff that's on the right. Okay, so that's that. Now, on the home screen here, what you see is, when you start it up, you'll always see this screen, and this button here, Tune Menu, it only flips between that screen and the menu screens. That's all it ever does, so you'll never get lost in the menu diving. On this screen, you'll see plus and minus will adjust the octave. Nice 8 octave range, and you will also see the phase angle reported between the two, and you'll also see the tuning wheel. Now it's locked right now, so the encoder doesn't do anything, but if I tap it, I've unlocked tuning, and I can adjust the tuning. And there's a calibration which will make sure that that's allow you to make that be like a C, and we'll look at that later, but
that's not. But anyway, you guys get the idea. So that's the HV1 hybrid oscillator. Interesting thing cool. I thought I'd mentioned that I didn't sort of pick up on last week was that I didn't realize that it actually is an analog oscillator, which then he uses a digital manipulation to get that phased copy of the oscillator, and then it actually is then put back through an analog signal path. So it is like a hybrid oscillator in that sense, but in its core, it's still analog.
It's kind of like a early digital. So it's an analog ramp generator, because when you think about it,
triangle,
a saw wave. Well, he says he turns it, converts it from a triangle core into a saw wave to go into the digital side. It's like a ramp, so it's basically telling you where in time where the wavetable should be taken from at any point in time, and that being completely derived from an analog source eliminates that kind of argument that you're digitally creating something perfect, technically perfect, whereas so the analog side should theoretically invoke some kind of aura over the digital side, because that is being used as the basis for the timing. It's really just timing. It's about it's just at such a high frequency. Of course, we hear it as sound, but it's all just timing of samples and stuff like that. But yeah, it's almost like the clock is analog in a way.
Well, yeah, you've got you've got your waveform, which has amplitude and the actual voltage over time, right? And then if you then copy that waveform and then paste it, but offset it to whatever distance you desire, that's how you're going to get that sort of phasey sort of sound. And does it with any oscillator, but I kind of feel like, I don't know if you noticed that when he was doing things like, he had the triangles and then he had the sine wave, you kind of started to get little FM sort of sounds that you kind of would think of DX7 would have, right? You kind of start to get that sort of stuff. But then I was almost sort of thinking, okay, this is like a Casio as well.
Phase distortion.
Yeah. So
to all those different.
One little oscillator gives you those sort of feelings, all in one. So you could have it like a traditional analog oscillator, or you could get sort of almost FM-y sort of stuff, or that sort of Casio style.
That's before you start looking at wavetables.
Yeah.
This is the other thing it does. So,
yeah.
But I'm saying my point was that the wavetable side of it is derived from the analog ramp, which means it is going to sound more like a PPG or something really early wavetable synthesis. It should theoretically sound a
crunchy,
bit more analogy and a bit less. It's a bit like deliberate clock jitter. It's that kind of vibe, I think, is what they're going for. We can watch the rest of the video ourselves.
It goes for another 14 minutes. Okay, so that is it for the news, guys. That is it for the news, but it's not it for the show, because we have this. Yes, indeed. Synth quiz time. First clue is emphasis. Emphasis. That's it. First clue, emphasis. Stick that in your pipe and smoke it. We're going to probably run through the clues pretty quickly, I would say, because we are kind of cooking in the show about an hour and 2 hours in, aren't we? So there you go. What we should do now, though, is I kind of feel like we should probably run the stinger for this. Indeed, no scammers this week, but some very, very interesting products indeed. Starting with this, the Technics SM-AC80. It's a MIDI PCM orchestra expander. Who's seen one of these before?
No.
Yeah.
Indeed. Neither have I. That's why I'm showing it. It's on eBay. Let's have a look. Close that. Go to here. Open that. There we go. So, what is this? Kind of like a DAW? MIDI PCM orchestra.
Orchestra.
Yeah. And don't forget, Technics made, synths in a day. So what has it got? A
You
data
mean physical modeling too.
data cartridge or something? Is that what that is, or is it a little floppy drive? I'm not sure what that is actually.
Yeah, weird.
It's a memory disk. Oh yeah, I remember those. The memory disk.
Oh,
Yeah.
quick disk.
Yeah, so this would be a sort of late 80s, I reckon. This thing would be a
Yeah,
guess
it's like
anyway.
the Roland S10
Yeah.
quick disk.
Oh, there it is there. The digital disc recorder. Interesting. Little pop-up floppy.
A lot of controls on it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this thing probably would have cost a fortune. What do they want for this? 699 euros. Approximately 760 US bucks. And it is based in Germany, in Baysweiler, in Germany. I don't know if I said that correctly or not. I always butcher things up. But yeah, there you go. Who wants that? What does it sound like is my question.
Yeah.
Like an orchestra, clearly.
Yeah.
Expanded.
A
orchestra.
shit- But is it a shit orchestra?
Is it an orchestra full of, overweight people or something?
Shit. Yes. Does it sound like, General MIDI orchestra? That's what it sounds like, right? Yeah. What else we got? We got the Roland Juno 60. Daren, get that in your pipe and smoke it. 4,795 smackaroonies. This one is in Fayetteville in Arizona in the United States of America. Booyah. We do have this on reverb. Oh, isn't it lovely? The lamp and it's a great
The
shot.
table,
yeah.
the plant.
Very nice.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You know what sucks?
Still
One of my
alive.
coworkers at Apple had put his at the local store that I usually buy stuff from, with the sequencer, for about $1,000, about 10 years ago, and I totally missed it.
Yeah.
I wish more things had panels on an angle like that, so you can actually lean over the back and actually read them.
Yeah. Well, I like the thick
It's
end
in
cheeks.
nice condition.
The thicker end cheeks. Oh, it's got a case.
Oh God! Wow.
There we go.
That's a wooden case.
Is that worth
Somebody's-
4,795 Australian smackaroonies? That's the question.
It's $2,000, isn't it? $2,500.
Yeah, it's a bit under, about 2-3. Yeah, for you guys. Is it worth 2-3?
It's not terrible if it's in good shape.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if that doesn't spike your
Tickle your
little,
fancy.
yeah, exactly. What about an MS-20? And this is not a remake. This is an original
Originals MS-20.
MS-20. So these are getting harder to get.
Wow.
This one's only about £1,600, Ian, and I kind of feel like that's probably a good price. This one's in Wilmington in North Carolina. North Carolina, isn't that where they get the Feng? What's that stuff called again? The root that they go looking for in the mountains.
Not yams.
I don't know.
What's it called? Complete mind blank now.
Truffles?
No. It's
Is it
kind of like that.
aphrodisiac?
It's yeah.
It's a
Someone will-
delicacy.
Someone will tell me. Anyway, North Carolina. Let's have a look. The reverb listing. So it's got, the vintage look to it. Is that a case it's coming with? That could even be
Yeah,
the
it is,
original
yeah.
case.
Yeah, it looks like an original case. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
I mean, I've always wanted an MS-20, but I'll have to admit, I've never really bought into the whole price of them.
No.
Yeah. The minis tempted me seriously, but
The minis are
not
good,
a full size. Yeah,
you know.
that's what they
I mean,
say.
I've got one. I've got a VST, and I've also got one built in the Kronos.
So these things aren't
need one.
volts per octave. These things are hertz.
No, hertz. Yeah, volts per hertz.
Hertz
Hertz
volt.
per volt. Yeah. And also the connectivity on this thing is 1/4 inch, right? 1/4 inch jacks on this thing.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good.
I sold loads of the minis over lockdown. Like every other week, people were buying them. Just
Yeah.
sold absolutely tons of them.
I don't really know why they was. I still thought Korg put them as a little bit pricey. I thought. I didn't really think
Yeah.
the Korg remake price was. It didn't float my boat. That's why I didn't get one.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a couple. We've had a couple of interesting things that we know about, and one that we didn't. Well, how about another one that we don't know much about, and that's this Boom drum computer.
Oh, yeah.
You guys seen this thing before? I haven't.
Yeah.
$560 Aussie, 280 pounds.
Yeah.
280 pounds. God, listen to me today.
Smackos,
Sound like I'm coming from New South Wales.
Tell him he's dreaming.
Yeah. The Boom drum computer. Look at that thing, eh? Complete with. At least these guys vacuumed their rug.
Yeah.
It's got a
This thing's tiny, isn't it?
US plug.
Just a bit.
Musikcentrum Costa Versestrat. Love it.
Yeah.
There you go. It's got MIDI. So it got MIDI on it.
No, that's DIN.
That's a DIN sync or something,
Yeah.
Well, the
Just a
output's
DIN out. DIN
on
out.
the right, but the
It's
black thing
probably-
is the output.
It might
It
be
MIDI.
something. You connect it to your organ.
Yeah.
Not that
It'd be
organ.
Careful, Chris.
Yeah. 5 or 7 pin
Filthy
audio
minds, I don't
DIN.
know.
Yeah, well,
Surely.
I've heard they do like control voltage. The next
you
thing
won't.
is the Farfisa Super Partner Bravissimo drum computer.
Super partner. That's great.
$129 Australian. This is like cheap as chips. This thing. Wow. This one is in Village in Germany. It is on Reverb. Verbeeb. Bravissimo! Exclamation mark.
I think I've owned 3 Farfisa organs.
How many products have you ever seen with an exclamation mark on their product name?
We need that more,
We
don't we?
need more of that.
Yeah,
Bravissimo. There you go. Look at that.
Since
I love the S's.
You have to wave your hands around.
Look at the S's on this. Fantastic calligraphy on this.
That is superb.
It
I'd like
is.
to play with that. I know it's going to sound like it's going to go
Super partner. You know what? The whole thing. The reason for this was because you had an organ that didn't play drums, and you needed to get the oldies off their chair
That's
after
right.
bingo. Get them dancing. Yeah.
Legs 11.
Bossa Nova, samba, rumba.
All the rhythms.
Jeez. Get
All
your
the different
afros
kinds
out.
of music. Yeah, there you go.
Get
No
your
rock.
afros out.
We noticed that. There's no rock. So the slow rock. Brilliant. I love it. Absolutely love it. They're all by
Schematic.
Bontempi now, Farfisa, sadly.
Oh, it's got the schematics. Look at that.
Well, technically, it's
Hey.
a PCB layout, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Doesn't that make the hairs on the back of your head? Because all the
No.
electrons.
If it
But I
was
say it's a bargain.
an
Isn't
ARP
it?
or
Absolute bargain.
What is it? 65 pounds.
60 quid. It's worth every penny.
Does it work? Let's have a look.
it's got "Look, Mum, no computer" written all over it.
It says it's working well,
yeah.
and it comes with the Chematic. It's spelled Chematic. Comes with the Chematic, not the Schematic. I think they're just missing
the
the S.
I
It's the
see, yes.
Chematic, yes.
Schematic. You need the schematic.
Nice, unique sound. Unique spelled UNIQ. Unique sound. Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
Sonic's
close.
spelled without a UE.
Ah,
Why not?
well, you know. I'm not going to kill him.
It's
for this.
rare. I've never seen one.
Hey guys, second clue.
Ooh.
Second clue. Ready? Contour.
Yep. Tonto.
Contour.
Oh, contour.
Contour. You know, my mate Con, he's from he got the Farfisa Sutra Bravissimo, he Con, and he went on tour with the Farfisa drum computer. Contour. Yeah. It's not a con, that's for sure. Might be.
My name is Giovanni Giorgio. You can call me Giorgio.
Hey, don't knock the Italians. I love the Italians. They're good. Literally, I live amongst millions of them around here. They're everywhere. Nice food. Right. There's your second clue, and that is price watch for the week. What would you buy? Would you get the Technics, the Roland Juno, the Korg MS-20, the Bohm drum computer from Germany, or the Farfisa Super Partner Bravissimo?
The Super Partner for me.
This one, yeah.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
It's pretty good.
You're going to hit buy right now, I know. You're just going to go and buy this thing.
Is it in the UK?
It's in Germany.
No, it's in Germany.
Nah.
No, I'm not.
Nah.
If it was in the UK, do you know, I would.
I think it's just a little bit. I think it is indeed.
That'd be Ian J. Cole and his Super Partner.
It won't sound very good, but I know that.
And
I tell you what, you can stick it through
Super
some
Partner
reverb,
Orchestra.
That's amazing.
You can stick anything through reverb.
It sounds amazing.
I reckon I could fart into reverb and it'll sound good.
Yeah.
Just run it through a ring mod, you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, the first time I got my DeepMind 12, the first thing that went to my head was, hey, we designed a synth that didn't sound very good, so let's put a whole bunch of digital effects on the end of it to make it sound better. That was literally the first point until I started learning how to play it better. But literally, this thing was every single preset was drowned in effects. Like you couldn't actually hear what the synth sounded like.
Well, Axis Virus did that too, to be fair. So you know, it was a good synth, but they also drowned it in reverb and stuff.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, one of the things I love about the Access Virus is the digital programming of that thing is so good that I've always been blown away how accurate the filters sound on it for its age. I mean, I'm not talking about the A's and the B's because they always sounded steppy and everything, but from C onwards, the filters sounded so good for a digital filter. It's so good.
Hey, Rand,
well, the Virus is the first.
The Farfisa Super Partner is sold. It's sold.
Someone in the chat probably bought it.
Did you buy it?
Yeah.
Someone on the show has bought it. I'm telling you.
I think so, yeah.
I bet Wagyu
61
bought it.
quid, but it was 40 quid to deliver it to the UK, which is a bit pricey.
Are you sure? It still says buy now on mine.
Just refresh.
I am. I'm hitting refresh.
Yeah, it says
buy now. If you don't believe me, I'll show you. Look,
no, you're right.
I'll refresh it in front of you. There you go. Look, I've refreshed it. You can see I'm reloading the page.
Yeah.
Must have been a low ball offer.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
He's actually
No,
got
I'm
a
not
couple.
buying. Not with 40 quid delivery charge.
Yeah. You know what we do? We're going to do the
Plus
third clue.
duties.
Third clue.
All right.
Third clue. Regen.
Wow, rapid fire.
Regen. Have you got the 3 words already? Yes, you do. Put your guesses in, people.
Oh, what's it called?
Come on, Google those 3 words together and see what happens. Actually, I've never tried that. I'm going to try it myself. Oh, geez. Well, definitely don't do that because you probably find the answer. Don't do that.
No, don't do that.
All right, why don't we? I've got something really cool to do in this segment. Indeed, Saturday Sonority means that we can sit back, relax. The show mainly is over, But what we're going to do first, before we get into Saturday Sonority, is we're going to do How's Your Week Been? And we're going to start this week with... Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Who's going to get first? Chris is going to go first. Yay!
Yay!
It was always going to be me. You know it was. Hello, everyone. Yes. So this week, what have I been doing? I have been building modules. More prototypes of my mixer for special people. And one for me. But I'm special, I guess. I'm special. So, yeah, that's mainly what I've been doing. Soldering. And I've also used my hot air gun for the first time on some extremely small components, which I'll show you some pictures of, I think. Is that one there? No, that's not that one. No. One of these screens is going to have... Oh. I'm trying to remember where I've put... Ah, look. We finally got some pictures up. Yay. Now it's going to work out how to change. Okay. So, yeah, building more of these things, which I haven't revealed yet. Showing too much? Am I showing too much? These guys, I can't show you for scale, but that patina in the background is like 4 mica. So that is small, that thing. And I've got to solder 7 of those onto a little PCB, and that is my little workstation there. And that off to the left on the bottom on top of another board is a panelized board for saving these little display things. So yes, that's my first attempt, and the eagle eye view will notice that D1 looks like a bit of a dog's breakfast, but I suspect that one will still work fine as a little prototype in my system, and I will get better. In fact, you can see I got better from D1 all the way up to D7. But that, believe you me, that is more
so these are
straight.
little LEDs, are they?
Yeah, they're tiny. They're those little LEDs I just showed.
Yeah. On the other thing, on the other graphic, yeah,
Those
LED
little
things.
guys.
How long do you have to hold the heat gun on there?
Okay, so the process I'm using is a preheat. So I preheat the back of the board. It's already got the components and the liquid, the solder paste on it. So I preheat the board, and that just causes all the flux to start running, which doesn't really, solder anything. And then I give it probably only about 3 or 4 seconds before it starts to actually dissolve and solder up. And a second or two after that, the components tend to center themselves based upon surface tension, which is very cool. And if I had more time, I would have done a nice little close-up picture of it, but I'll do that for another time.
And you just hold the gun on it, or you wave it many times?
I wave it around a fair bit, so because I'm just nervous about, because these are LEDs, and LEDs have more heat-sensitive components than other components. So I've been warned that generally try to do it from underneath if you can. But yeah, I found that they taking a fair bit. And the amazing thing is, after I'd finished, they all still worked. Lovely. So that's my little workstation there. Copious magnifying glasses. I don't have the microscope. I'm living without. I like old school. It's kind of cool. While my eyesight's still working, I kind of like to flaunt it. Might as well use the gifts that God has given you, huh? So apart from that, a little bit more development on the compiler for the Trexie, turning the patches into actual system exclusive messages that you can send with any software to the Trexie. It's kind of an important step, so I had to get that working. Debugging, bugs. I fixed the bugs. It takes a little while to fix bugs. Still quite enjoying using Python. I've decided I'm definitely a programming nerd because I enjoy using different languages just for the fun of it. So definitely something wrong with me. All right, depending on your perspective. Apart from that, yes, I might show something that I didn't get to show you last week. People probably may or may not be familiar with the Electrosmith Daisy Seed. I've got myself a Daisy Seed for doing some digital projects, future projects. And I also got the really slightly nicer eurorack level version. So this can go straight into a board of my design and be a eurorack module. So future project, which would be excellent when I have time. But I thought I'd secure some while I could, because I tend to disappear from sale over here in Australia for some reason, and then it becomes a bit expensive. And then there was Trump stuff happening, so I thought I'd just get some now, just in case something happens. So yeah, so that doesn't mean I'm diverting my attentions from building the modules I've already got in the pipeline. That's for the future, but could be quite fun. So yep, so digital modules coming from me, that would be a landmark thing as well. So apart from that, oh yes, I've been playing with the G-Storm Electro filter. I think I was talking to you about it before. It's, yeah, over there. Hang on, I'll just put my head underneath it so you know that it's that thing up there.
Yeah, the light-coloured module.
Yeah, the light-coloured module. So that is... let's see. I thought, because we were talking about SEMs and stuff like that, I thought I'd mention that I have that little guy. Just grab my... Sorry, people, just grabbing a microphone so I can continue talking. Yeah, so... Yes, so I was doing some stuff with it. What was I doing? We don't have any sound. That doesn't work. Why is there no sound? Is it because I turned it off? Well, there we go. So I'm just doing a little bit of... What was I doing? I was doing drums, was I? And can we... Yeah, I think we can modulate that, can't we? Oh, yes. Yep. This one is modulating the low pass, band pass, so you can hear it actually modulating in real time from this LFO that I've got plugged in. And the level for that is that one. So there's no melody. All my step sensors seem to be occupied doing something else at the moment. Anyway, yes, so just quick little mucking around with that kind of thing.
Very nice.
Yes, and I apologise if I don't know if everything sounds okay on that filter, because I may have knocked off a capacitor accidentally. I don't know how, but it was just hanging loose and flapping in the breeze. So I thought, oh, I think I've got something I need to repair there. It was the power supply section, so didn't seem to make too much of a difference.
Mm-hmm.
But I will definitely fix that. So yep, there you go. That's me.
Perfect. Awesome. Let's go to Ian.
Hey, good afternoon. It's a bit late for this, isn't it? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, good night. So I've not had a good week, if I'm honest. Not done very much music stuff because I've been in pain all week.
No.
So
sorry to hear that.
Yeah, started with face pain this side of my face on Sunday. Went to the dentist Tuesday. Wasn't resolved. Went back again on Thursday. Had a fill-in. Still isn't resolved. Got to go back again next Thursday. So all week I've been trying to get some pain relief, to be honest, and with not an awful lot of success, really. And trying to see a doctor in the UK is, well, here in the southwest, I have to fill in a form, but if the form isn't, if I don't fill the form in the morning, I can't fill the form in till the next morning. So turning up at the doctor's surgery doesn't work because I popped in. I did see a very nice pharmacist who actually gave me some cocodamol, which has helped a little bit. So I'm back again next week trying to get some sort of pain relief, really. So and I think it's nerve related rather than teeth. But so apart from that, I did mess around. I have been messing around with trying to sync the OPZ to the Terra, which does work, but the OPZ makes a weird noise. Don't know whether have you had that issue, Andy?
How are you hooking them up?
I've got the line module, so it's out of the line module and into the MIDI.
Oh, you're just doing audio, not MIDI.
Yeah, just audio.
Oh.
But it's got and it's got a weird
using
sort
that
of
upgrade module, right? You have that green upgrade module. Yeah. So I've only used the built-in audio, not the module, because my module is only for CV, gate, and MIDI.
Right.
I have the yellow one, the Op Lab. So it could be your module. Could be something weird with the module.
Yeah, I mean, actually, because I tried it with something else. I tried it with the Ambient Zero. It was just the same. So it's obviously something on the OPC.
Yeah, it's the module.
It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm meant to be doing an EMOM in Bristol on Tuesday, but actually, depending on how I feel, I might not go, if I'm honest. Because if I'm feeling really crap, it sort of comes and goes in waves. I took a load of painkillers. I've got painkillers here in case I need them. So I took a lot of painkillers before the start of the show to try and, so.
Is that the only two times you hooked up the module to something? Or is that...
Sorry?
Did it work before? Did it work before without noise?
I have. It's worked. I've had it connected to the Roland TRS-8 and it was fine before.
Oh, weird.
So it's just those two things. It's the Terra and the...
Interesting.
The Sonic Wave thing. But so yeah, not a great week, but we'll get to the end of the end of my health issues. Yeah, that's it from me really. Nothing much has been going on really.
Awesome. Well, I'm hoping you're getting better, mate. Because
I'll get there. I mean, like I say, I'm going to try and get a doctor's appointment. Because, like I say, I think it's the nerves. I think it's something to do with my nerves rather than the actual teeth. But I've got to go back because he only put a temporary filling in on Thursday, and I've got to go and have that done again next Thursday.
Oh, dear me. Well, all the best, mate.
Actually, Biscuit said TRA-8S has balanced out less noise. That might be it.
But are you using balanced cables?
Yeah,
that matters. I mean, what kind of cables are you using?
I'm just using. I'm using balanced cables. No, I'm not.
Try one thing for me, Ian. Can you power it from a battery bank instead of actually plugging it into a computer or like a wall wart?
Oh, the USB noise.
Yeah, just power it without that. Just power it from like a.
That. I mean, I don't for the Terra. I haven't got a block, but I can. I think the Sonic Lab. I think that runs on batteries, doesn't it? Yeah, I can try that with that.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
Try and just
try that.
Get it out of without mains power and see if that gets rid of your problem. And then you'll know it's some sort of USB / ground loop sort of issue. Yeah. And
Biscuit says the TRS cable. I've got a TRS cable, so
I'll do that too.
Well. Yeah, I always use my OPZ with batteries, so I would have noticed that anyway. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for the help, guys.
No worries, man. Over to you, Andy.
Yeah. Not Nothing too exciting. I did a kind of a marathon thing with Eddie yesterday. The 6 Oscillator show was supposed to be about 2 to 3 hours. It went on for about 5. So because we got talking for a while, and Wagyu joined, and Culture Ghosts was there, and so it's kind of a spirited discussion here and there. It wasn't just guitar wankery, as they say. But yeah, it was fun. Other than that, yeah, I have not. I missed hardware jams. I was just too busy over the last weekend, so I didn't have any output this week. Might do the one this week. Obviously, no new purchases. I'm broke, so yeah, that's about it. But I do like that new controller with the physical modeling, the additive engine in it. That looks really cool. So if I could somehow get some money out of nowhere, I would definitely get it.
You don't need your kidney, do you?
Yeah, I got 2, right?
Yeah,
so whatever.
Yeah.
What the hell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, I'll sell my teeth. That'll sort it.
Go it with a bang.
Awesome. All right, and over to Daren.
I'm the same as everybody else. I've not been in the studio because I was still trying to get over this cold or whatever it is. So yeah, I've not done a thing. Not been in the studio. So yeah, that's my week. Oh, and obviously with the time's changing, I'm getting up earlier as well. So yeah. So looks like all the people for the week have not done much, or they've been in pain, or they or no money, which we all haven't.
We've got one more to do, and that's Steve, who's joined us via Zoom. So we'll go to Steve. Here you go, mate.
Hi, guys.
How's your week been?
Yeah, I've been in here messing around this week. I've on the Bitbox Micro. It's got an auto sampling feature, so the O1W that I got, I've been setting up that for auto sampling, which works really well.
Nice.
Once I've got my head around setting up the micro to do it.
Cool.
Yeah. So I've just been messing around with Eurorack really this week, familiarising myself again with it because I fell out of favour with it, to be honest. But I need to get back into it again.
Does the auto sampling work like it so it just sends out MIDI notes and then it picks up all the little samples for each of the notes? Is that what you mean? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So you hook up the MIDI, you set whichever range you want between C1 to C6, for example, and how long you want to press the note for, and how many levels of velocity you want, and then it samples it, goes away and samples it, and then puts it all into like a key group,
little folder. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah, NPCs do that as well, if you're wondering. Which is pretty cool. Nice.
Awesome. Cool using the 01W. That's my favorite Rompler. I love that thing.
I bought it just for one sound, really, called Free Flight. I mean, I could have downloaded it, but I just wanted some to mess around with.
Is that the floating one?
That's
that one.
Yeah, Enigma used it. Yeah,
that's it.
Sample Andy. Awesome. All right.
Well, it's on that song Return to Innocence. It's all over that track.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enigma.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Let's
I love that sound.
Let's solve this. Let's solve it. Let's find out what the truth is behind the quiz this week. I gave you guys the 3 clues. Just read them out to you again. The first one was emphasis, the second one was contour, and the third one was regen. And you guys are going all down the Moog route, aren't you? Just Moogie, just whatever. You're just all thinking that you've got it solved, and it's the Moog.
Those words. Moog loves those words.
Yeah, those words are all over it. Well, there is good news because one person's got it right, and I'll tell you who's got it right, and that is this guy.
Huh?
There's the answer. For Roland SEO2.
Very good. Yes.
I was miles off.
I have it. Didn't even remember that feature. So
very good. Yep. It's inspired by the mini moves. So there you go. Oh, that's what I was hearing at the beginning of the show. Nice.
Indeed, well done, Bert. Got some bragging rights now for the rest of the week. I don't know, really. No one wants to sponsor the shows, so we're on a budget, mate. That's all we can do.
Just sell the segment, why don't you, Rant?
Yeah, I can't be bothered. Guys, if you do want to continue on with the discussions of this show during the week, don't forget our Discord server. I've just noticed that Brian from what was it called again? Robots Are Red. He's joined us in Discord. So have a chat to Brian. He's in there now. He was on the show last week. So Discord, that's the address. I've actually posted it in chat, so you can click on that link right now. If you aren't part of the the live show, you can actually still watch the chat replay as well. So don't forget, like, you've got your YouTube window there, and up the top right hand corner it says show live chat or something like that. Click on that and all the live chat pops down, and you can see what we've been chatting. Could be chatting about you. Conspiracy theories. My goodness me. Anyway, let's get back to the start of Saturday Sonority. We do have a question from Steve, Steve the Bastard, that is. Great nickname, that is. During today, he asked me, actually topical, because he did ask me a question about this. Yes, he did. Okay. And that's why we do everything on this show. It's all for a reason, people. All for a reason. Connected. The synth quiz, this is here for a reason. If you're wondering what the delay effects, it is IntelliJaw sea legs that you're hearing, by the way. We can actually manipulate that a little bit.
Timey-wimey, tapey.
Oh, I love that module. My favourite module at the moment. Anyway, his question, if everyone's wondering what the friggin' question is. The question he asked was, the SEO2 has no ability to handle dynamics. He's currently doing a project right now, and he wants dynamics in the sound, right? So you can track the filter, but there's no CC, as in MIDI CC. It's number 7, and no velocity. I don't know about that. I'm not sure if he's correct on that, but someone can tell us. Anyone who knows the SEO2, I mean, I know a little bit about it. He's looking for a MIDI volume sort of control where he can put some dynamics back into the sounds. And he was thinking about what way could he do that? Does he need to then pipe this through another VCA and have it then get that controlled somehow through MIDI? I
mean, MIDI volume is the CC. You can just map a controller to it.
But is it supported on the SEO2?
Yeah, so that's
how
the
much
question.
Is mapped?
I would hope so.
Well, yeah.
So we're talking about what's the MIDI spec on the SEO2?
Well, I had the MIDI.
First place to look, isn't it?
I did have the MIDI thing open.
You have it up?
Yeah, I did have it open. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know how accurate it is, because you can't actually download the MIDI implementation chart anymore, and I don't know if they've updated it, taken it down for a reason or what.
Manual for the SEO.
Anyway, you have got, actually it might be at the back of the menu. I did download the manual, the latest version. Nope, it's not in the back of the manual. Oh, it's one of those freaking newspaper style manuals.
Yeah, fold it out
like a map,
small print.
Okay, so we want to look at the column which says recognized, not transmitted. So recognized, in other words, received, I'm guessing. What are we looking at? We're looking at it does notes. It does have aftertouch recognized. Okay. So one of the suggestions I had from him was that he could use the sequencer, and this sequencer does have the parameter feature on it, where you would select your step. So you'd select your step into the sequencer, choose your step, whatever step it is. So you choose parameter, choose your step, and then that parameter would be mapped to whatever control that you've touched on here. I think you're going to do one from memory. This is just off the top of my head. Don't quote me. It's just off the top of my head. Could be wrong, but aftertouch would be one of them. And if that's the case, surely you could map aftertouch to something. Anyway, control change 7, it says it does recognize it as volume, according to the MIDI implementation chart. So control change 7 is recognized. And there is a whole bunch of CCs that are patch parameters, which you can, and it says refer to the next page. So let's have a quick look here. What are we looking for? We're looking for some VCA type stuff, right? There isn't any VCA stuff. There is...
How about filter control and have it close off?
Hey, what is CC81 dynamics? What's that?
Yeah, I saw that before.
What is that? Someone in chat know what that is? CC81 dynamics. That one is actually on here. So is that what he's looking for? And also, guys, I should probably go back to us. Just stick of looking at the SEO too. Also, it does have system exclusive as well. So if you do know how to get actually into the system exclusive of this, you can actually you can send it SysX.
Yeah, older MIDI controllers have SysX knobs on them.
Yeah.
Not just CC.
Yeah, so anyone in chat saying what the dynamics does? No one knows?
Patch volume as well is 115.
115. Patch volume. Yeah.
I missed the beginning. Is it to taper the volume off or just to kill the volume altogether?
No, he wants to do dynamics.
Yeah.
Dynamics, okay.
So he wants to add light and shade into his sound. So if you're looking at it like a switched on bark type thing, he doesn't want just every single thing to be at that level monotonally like that. He wants to put some dynamics in it. But he wants to do it through MIDI, right?
Forte.
MIDI would be his...
Because you could do it through an expression pedal, surely.
So he's talking about 3 minutes of bark. Quavers would be nice to add shape. I suggested that he could possibly go through an external VCA that has some sort of MIDI or MIDI to CV control. Then if that's the problem. But it looks like there's 3 options there. So you've got that CC7 is volume. That does work. I don't know if you have
just a mixer with automation for that channel.
And then I don't know what CC81 is, dynamics. And then there's also one that Steve suggested, which is CC115, which is patch volume. What I might do too is I'll just if I make that I'll send that MIDI implementation chart to Steve via Facebook, so he's got it.
They're both transmitted and recognized, all those as well.
Yeah,
you mentioned.
I'll send that to him. There you go. He got that. Cool. All right. So he's got the implementation chart. See what happens. I think the only thing that kind of disappointed me about the SEO2, I guess, is that even with the external box thing here, right? That it's mainly to do with the filter and the dynamics of the filter. So in this case, this is
it's not so steppy.
This is a CV control of the filter, right? As opposed to that control there, which is a digital control. So that actually does have, even they've improved the resolution when you do a firmware update on it, but it's still not that good. So this is.
But they also have a high pass there, right? Isn't it high pass through there?
So there's a high pass there, but there's also a drive. So to give you an example, you've got turn it on, right?
Dead mouse.
Yes, there's nothing like a fifth patch to invoke the mouse.
Yeah, of course. And also you can drive the little sucker with feedback here as well. So that's half the touch doing that.
Sounds great.
It can be really growly, this thing.
Sounds great, yeah.
So yeah, I think with those three things, you could try out those. The other option would be that maybe he could... So the contour... I know he said he doesn't really want to use the filter contour, but the filter contour...
C59.
It is an envelope control, right?
It's the envelope depth, is it? Yeah.
So what is it? CC 59. Let's go to...
Yeah, the console, yeah.
Let's go to... How do we change the CC here? 59. Oh, the only thing is, if I'm using the Arturia key step, I don't think it sends CC... I think it sends it out the back, doesn't it? I don't know if it's going to work on me. Let's try it anyway. So that...
You can certainly change the mod strip to be a different CC, but I can't remember if that's any CC.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. What can we do here? We want to send, because I've got Ableton, right?
Yeah, I'm going to put it into a clip.
We're going into here, right?
Yeah.
So let's insert an empty clip.
Do you have CC envelopes in clips in Ableton?
Yeah, you can usually send program. Oh, it's a bit different than 9, isn't it? Because you've got program change and CC and bank change.
You do.
Yeah, good stuff.
But seeing as I haven't got that version.
Yeah, let's just go zooming in so you guys can see it better.
Oh.
That's the launch. We don't need that. Envelopes.
Enveloping. Does it have a
Where's it gone?
MIDI control.
MIDI control.
MIDI.
We want to control.
Look at all that. So what do we want? 59, is it?
59.
We also might check out 81 if that's another one listed sometime as well.
Okay, now, how do we then? Oh, we're controlling it here, aren't we?
I think so. You can start adding nodes, can't you? Oh, you need to set a clip length. Yeah. How do you add a node? Do you double click to add a node? I guess you put a note in, that's probably not a bad idea.
Well, to send the message, you don't necessarily need to put a note in, or at least you didn't do.
You didn't have to, no, but let's just
You just fire the clip off with the message sent.
That's a good way of checking it's working.
We don't want that running. Let's just turn that off for a sec. And we want that on auto. Play that. So what we want now okay.
Here's Johnny.
There we go. Now to control this. It's working.
Yeah, well, if you did Control volume 7. Was that going to work then?
It's definitely doing it. So there you go. That's definitely doing it. That was definitely bringing that filter contour down. That was definitely doing it. And then the other thing you could do, obviously, just map it to a foot controller. You know, any foot controller is MIDI CC mappable. Like the Moog ones are good for that.
Or nearby D-beam.
Yeah, D-beam.
Yes.
That works. I feel like that could be the way to go. I know he doesn't really want to change. Maybe he's using the filter for other things, but that could be a way to go. Anyway.
So I can try the others now. You can try.
What
the
is
others.
Half God Half Beast telling me?
He was trying to tell you, post the link. He can't post links, obviously, so he was trying to post it in a very non-cryptic to the MIDI implementation chart.
Oh, okay. I've already got it
the
here.
same link that you're already...
Yeah.
Exactly, that you're probably already looking at. So. But
Yeah, and NRPNs are definitely better. I agree, mate. But anyway, that will...
Yeah.
Oh, Steve's in there.
Yeah.
He says, thanks, guys. I got it. Cool.
Good on you, Steve.
Let us know if you
Got what you need.
any of those worked.
Yeah.
Cool. There you go. So you guys, that's what Saturday Sonority is. We do say ask us anything. You guys can do it. He asked us asked me during, I think it was setting up the show today. So I just said, can I put it on the show? He goes, yeah. So, you know, if you have a question you want to ask us, it's not just me, by the way. Ask Daren, because Daren knows everything, by the way. He
does. He's an
nothing.
oracle.
He's actually
Absolutely.
amazing.
Oracle.
Everything but nothing.
I think
Yeah.
might know. I think he knows a lot about grass.
Okay.
Oh, God. That or purple things.
Let's not go there, though. Okay, Chris? Just in case.
Not that kind of grass.
Yeah.
I'm not touching it.
Yeah, we're not going to touch that one. Yes.
Well, grass is legal here, so.
On the key step.
Oh, wait a minute. I think the police
37.
arrived.
Yeah. It's not legal here.
B1.
Not even talk here.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to do. Key step.
Well, you know the best thing for that is Parma Violets. I have a, you know.
Yeah, we
Apparently,
get munchies.
Froome has got a legal sort of dope shop. Don't quite know how that works. I've not been in.
It's not even legal for medical use.
I think it's
With a
for
card or
medical
something?
uses, this one.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's how it started
Yeah,
most
I think that's
places.
what Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have got one.
So then they had the bogus doctors giving you the prescription, so you could
I'm
get.
sure that's.
I'm going to see if I can get this key step to map MIDI CC. What was it? 50.
Purple goat shop.
59. Let's see if we can do that. MIDI control center. Where are you? There.
Yeah, that's where it is.
Key step. Right. Where are we?
Yep, it is there. I think.
What's there?
No, I think you're looking in the right place. It's probably in the MIDI control center.
Maybe
Yeah,
it's not
so
purple
knob-
jelly. You see,
knob
jelly, he's at it
one.
again.
Oh, because you've
Well,
got
wait,
a
it's-
pro.
Woggy
haven't you?
wants,
He can't.
Woggy
have
wants a
jelly
cannabis
wrestling
infused
go.
jelly. Yeah.
He does. Yeah.
Mob 1, 59. Done. All right, so it's now mapped to 59. So knob 1.
I know I've had, while he's sorting that, I've had my intellectual property stolen this week
By an AI.
Uh-oh.
by the Russian, it's lib something, and it's some, when I was an academic, I wrote some articles and wrote a book chapter, and all of that stuff, because it was published, has been stolen to be scraped and then Facebook, Meta have actually just used all that sort of stuff. I'm sure they're not using my stuff, but rather than pay the intellectual property rights to authors, Meta have just started teaching their own AI stuff on this illegal Russian site.
Wonderful.
It'll happen with music next, I bet you. It isn't already.
Well, Meta's a shitty company anyway, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm listening to the Spotify book. You know, the Liz Pelly book about Spotify and their dodgy practices. That's quite a good. I don't normally do Audible, but that's quite a good listen.
Yeah, that whole AI thing where they're taking artist music and creating new music from it is bullshit.
Yeah.
Just
So it's quite an eye opener, is that book? So either read it or actually I've got a 3 months for 99p to Audible, so it was my first choice of a book rather than actually buy it because it's an hardback. But it's absolutely fascinating. Yeah, boycott Spotify.
I mean,
I agree with you.
Spotify is already good to avoid, because they practices.
I'm not putting any more. I mean, it costs us money to take our stuff off Spotify, but anything new that I'm putting out isn't going to go on Spotify.
Also, Spotify pays big bucks to that idiot Joe Rogan to spew nonsense on the internet. So
yes,
that's reason enough to boycott them.
It is. Yeah.
The amount of COVID fallout we had from that stupid guy was crazy.
Yeah, I never seen it. I never watched any of his stuff. I listened to it, but I
didn't have to. He just was pervasive. It was everywhere.
Yeah. I watched the bit with Elon Musk, which was just I could only stand about 2 minutes of it. It was just two fatheads talking crap.
It's two douchebags in the same room. That's really bad.
Yeah.
Real life Beavis and Butthead. Yeah.
That would be an improvement.
Well,
actually.
just don't take
ketamine. Yeah, actually, except that would kind of.
At least Beavis and Butthead are funny.
Yes. Probably get cancelled now.
We're doing the same thing, Jim.
All right, guys. So what I've done is in the MIDI CC, I've mapped this number 1 here to MIDI CC 59, and that's just controlling. That's controlling the EG
depth. Okay.
It's not the filter cutoff. This is the actual envelope control. So that way you can still manipulate the filter, right? Separately, I'm now touching the filter. I'll go to the. So I'm now just touching the analog filter control here. But then I can now modify the contour. So I guess to show that if that works, right, is if we had more of a release, right? So just to sort of show that that's working, you can just do it from here, right? But you can still adjust the filter, right? So then you still have filter control through CC, but you would be able to use that as like a, bit of a light and shade sort of thing going on. Let me just sort of superimpose the two so you guys can see what I'm doing. So you can see that's off there. So for me, that kind of does the trick for Steve as well. Don't you guys agree? It is a filter manipulation, but if he wants to have light and shade, you're just manipulating the contour. And if the contour doesn't, if he's doing sort of stuff that doesn't really involve too much filter control, and you can control the cutoff separately through MIDI CC, I guess you're kind of solving that problem as well. What was the other one we wanted to try? Is the
81 or 7?
patch volume, wasn't it? Or 81?
Yeah.
What was 81?
7 or
Dynamics. Yeah, we didn't even know what
7
dynamics
81
was.
was patch.
yeah, we don't know what that is. That might be
7
the
is. Yeah.
EG.
7 is master
Amplitude
volume. I
EG.
think.
All right, so
7
let's
would
do
be the first one
81.
to try.
We'll do 81 first. See what that does. Right.
By the way, Ranzee, that opening riff you were playing was almost Reptile by The Church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
81 does nothing. I don't know what that's doing. So let's try. What was the last one? 115. So we'll do 115.
Oh, that's good. That'll do it.
Well, that's definitely doing
So you
volume.
can definitely do volume there.
So that's. Let's see if we can get something happening on here.
Down, hold. Yep.
That's interesting too. If you use that 115, it's independent of the delay circuit. If I do this, you can hear the delay circuit still.
Yeah, so it's pre-delay.
So if I
So it's patch level
if I
pre-delay.
make the delay a bit louder and a bit longer, see that?
Yeah.
There you go. So that solves that problem. I feel that that is probably the one he's after. CC115. That is a volume.
Yep.
And it's different to the master volume. So the master volume would be 7, right? Which
Which will probably post effects.
will just turn the whole unit's volume down. We can try. We'll just try 7 because I think someone said they wanted me to try it anyway.
That was the thing I discovered on the Tenorion because it's 16 tracks, and when you turn the volume down per track on it, it's the master volume per track. And so if you want to have one track play externally MIDI stuff and have the rest of them play sounds on board, you have to create a null set so you can turn the thing down and not kill the whole track, because it'll mute the MIDI going out also.
So it's silent but playing.
Yeah. So it is. It will be 151 that you'll want.
That 7 seems to me more like the VCA. Because if I hold a note down and then I pull the volume back down again, if it's hit the envelope, it'll hold that note. I'll show you what I mean. So if I go here, right, and I hold a note down, and you can see that's on 0 there, right? But if I pull that up here, you can still see that has left the VCA open. But if I pull that down, you can see it's invoking the VCA. Interesting.
Maybe you want to turn off the delay just
Yeah,
to
I can turn that off.
avoid any confusion.
Yeah, it's probably the full
It
system.
should be full volume.
Yeah, it should be the full system, right?
It's the same on the Tenorion. That's the CC7 is the one.
What was it?
For tracks.
What was the default? This thing's 74, wasn't it? I think it's 74. Yeah, anyway. I can't remember. That's really cool.
First quarter.
Problem solved. Well, I feel like anyway. Let's see how Steve goes, eh?
Lots to explore. Yeah. Options.
The thing with me is I kind of don't really get that heavily involved in the micro setting up of MIDI with things. because I'm not really one of these sort of people that likes to control things to the point where I'm controlling everything through MIDI and then like sequencing the whole MIDI thing and then getting it to play everything back. I'm probably more just I get it.
Well,
done,
I am now. I'm playing
record
live.
it. Yeah, well, so that's the thing, Daren. You're probably going to have to do that, right? Because you have to record all those MIDI things.
So much MIDI's going involved. I just hope that the MIDI is working every time I play live.
Yeah.
But yeah, it started up, the simple set started off with, like you say, not really having to do much. The more sort of complex you make anything, you start realizing that everything in the MIDI is starting to get controlled because you just only have two hands and you want to actually play, you know, especially if you can't play and you have to do this. So you're having to control all sorts of parameters.
Automation. As a one-man show, you need to start automating tasks.
Yeah. Especially when it's my type of stuff is, as you know, it's how do I put it? Very sort of, it's more dance oriented for the live stuff that I do. So I'm not doing any
rhythmic.
Rather than
breakdowns,
sort of ambient jams,
fills, and transitions.
Kind of what I was talking more about though was like, you know, like you saw me before where I was in Ableton and I was doing that envelope thing and I was painting in the slope. You know, and there's other ways you can put like LFOs and stuff like that on. I kind of don't really do that much. Like I don't really go into the DAW and get it to automate a whole bunch of stuff through MIDI and send it out. And I kind of, to be honest, I kind of more like see what the actual device itself does on the device. Like if you were looking at the SEO2 before, I'll do
on the
it
hardware.
I'll do it here, but I won't record the MIDI it sends.
No,
you do it on the hardware, but obviously on the soft synths and stuff, you'll do a lot more automation.
Yeah, true. But usually that's inside the actual soft synth, though. Do you know what I mean, Daren? You're not doing it inside the DAW. You're doing it in the actual application of the VST itself. Like if you're using Serum or Monarch or something like that, you've got all those manipulation LFOs and modulations and matrices and all that sort of stuff in the actual VST itself.
Well, some synths come with VST as an editor. I remember the Sub-Fatty, they were very into getting that a fully featured editor with automation because everyone was asking for screening for automation in their DAW to control that synth.
Sometimes I do record information coming back from synths or everything that I'm using, like you know your cut off and stuff. Sometimes I record that as
cool
MIDI information, and then I can then do a separate track in case I suddenly decide the modulation I was making at that point in time was just what I wanted for a track, and not having to remember it. I've already recorded it in MIDI, you know, as a manipulation sort of thing, and then I'll just and I can just jam it if I didn't want to use it.
But Chris, you're talking something sort of more like this, right? The editor, you know,
I think so,
for a synth, you know, where you can get into the back end of the synth and edit all these parameters and have it send it out.
You get the some of them. I mean, something like the Sub-Fatty was like that because it had so many hidden features behind the panel.
Yeah.
So that was a bit of a special case.
Yeah, the Slim Fatty was the same.
Okay, yeah. But some people were really like it was. They died. They you know their life depended on having the filter cut off, automatable throughout their song from the DAW.
I mean, we were talking about what was it? There was some synth we were talking about recently where I mentioned that you know you could use a Novation Peak because Novation Peak has the analog filters in it, but it has the digital oscillators. And it was just crazy, like how you forget sometimes you've probably already got a synth that can do this stuff. Like I was just looking at just then, click on Tokyo, right? These are all the different types of oscillators this thing's got built into it. But then look down the bottom, user 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up there. So you can put all those. You can actually go into user 1, right? And then I don't know if it's in here. You can do it in here. I don't know if it's this one or if it's the other one. You have to do it through the Novation editor. Yeah, it might be the other one. Anyway, you can then load into user one your own wavetable.
Okay.
So
is it single cycle wavetable or more
It's
complicated?
What do you mean single cycle? Sorry, I don't understand what you mean.
So you can have two types of wavetable synthesis. You can either have single cycle waveforms. So just one cycle of the waveform is in a table. And you can have ones where it's multiple waves, like a longer period of time.
Oh, okay. I see. So it gives you more of an access to the actual sample.
Means
itself.
you can sweep through an entire table.
So more like a granular.
It's more like granular, but
heading closer to granular.
Between.
I can't remember.
Something like so the ESQ1, for example, is a single cycle.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Wavetable.
Someone would be able to tell us in chat. There you go. Half God, half beast says one wave or sweepable. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever got into that side of it yet. I mean, I've always wanted to actually play with that. Just never got around to it. And I always talk about it like as if, I think I showed you guys on the show a couple of weeks ago, there was a feature on the BeatStep Pro, I think it was MIDI to CV or something. I've always talked about how it does MIDI to CV, but I've never done it myself until on the show. And until you've actually done it yourself, you don't really realize, whether it's a pain in the ass or not. Talk about features of stuff. You don't realize whether the features is actually good or not, even though it looks good on paper. But I'm just trying to think. If this is the Peak Summit editor. No, this is just accessing the actual the panel as such. You would need to, I think, go into the Novation thing.
Getting some feedback from the chat, people talking about it being a full wavetable, like I was the second thing I was saying.
Yeah, components is what I was looking
there's
for.
There's a dedicated app for wavetable editing for the
There it is.
Novation, Wagyu says. So probably won't have it installed.
I haven't actually. Oh, it's downloading an update.
I'm not going to be held
Do you have a
accountable
peak,
for
Ranzee? I don't remember
crashing
that.
your
Do
printer.
you actually have a peak?
Yeah, it's behind me.
Yeah. You use it that much?
It's actually not turned on at the moment. I do. I love it. It's all over that
do?
Gates album. If you ever wondered.
Yeah, Gates.
Oh, okay. I mean, they're nice. I just wonder if you used it. So,
Hell yeah.
I really enjoyed the Summit. The Summit is really cool.
There you go. It's on now. It says update available. Let's do the update. Why does it need to restart? Oh, restart the app? Okay.
Yes.
Log in. Okay, I'm just going to log in. You guys can keep talking about stuff while I'm doing this. I can close this window now. Okay, cool. I'm closing it. It says I'm logged in.
Heard good things about the Peak, so.
Okay, so it's not connected via USB, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. So I'm probably going to have to bring a USB cable over.
Yeah.
From there to do this.
Yeah. Otherwise it won't detect it. Sometimes they let you edit it, like the Wave State editor allows you to do editing offline without being connected to the Wave State at all times. But it's only for like editing your multi-samples and stuff like that. Library stuff.
That's interesting. It's only got, I don't know if it's this particular thing because I haven't got it connected, but it only shows circuit, launch key, launchpad, launch control, SL. Oh, here we go. Peak. It's under the label of synth. There we go.
Crazy idea.
But it's not letting me click on it because it's not connected. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, some synth tribe is like that as well. The Behringer one won't let you do anything to.
Oh, here we go.
With the settings.
Let me in. It has let me in. Here we go. It's let me in. Let's see if we can. There's the wavetable editor there. There we go.
Ooh.
And so you've got your wavetables here, which I've got none in. So I can create a new wavetable.
Ooh.
There we go.
Nice.
And then you've got live edit too, so you can actually put this straight onto it. So yeah,
pretty
click
powerful.
on import, you'll be able to load your own wavetable in. And
What's the format for a wavetable? Is it like a serum type format, or what's the format?
I was just going to ask that. Press the import button. What's the file type? I'm trying to move the mouse, but mine doesn't work on his.
Sorry, what was that? I had someone else come in.
Press the import button, see what file types it's looking for. Third-party wavetable. That's probably
me to go to my computer.
Oh, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry. You don't want to do. Interesting. Yeah, no, your Mac is different. To
I'll load something in. Hang on, give me a sec.
Yeah, no. We were just wondering what kind of formats it was. Third-party formats it supported.
I'll just go into my sample library and load.
We can Google it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Samples. Where are we?
Okay. Oh, great. Love this new AI from Google. Not.
Oh, is that the one called Chuck or something like that?
I don't know. It makes me want to chuck.
All right, let's chuck an emulator
I think it's called Chuck.
in here. An aircraft noise. Yeah, why not? A chopper. Let's open that. Okay. Sorry, I just had to do that. So now it's asking me, I'm importing the audio, set the location of where you would like to begin your wave. So let's do it there. That'll do. Import.
Did Peak always have the wavetable input, or is this new?
This has been around for ages, mate.
That has, okay.
Yeah. So then you've got the ability to change where the wavetable is, I guess, on there. That's what it sounds like. Can reset it, import another one. Yeah, cool. All right, pretty basic, but that's what you expect from it. So yeah, the answer is that's exactly what I was actually looking for the other day when I was talking about, I don't know, it was some new synth we were looking at, and I just thought that this particular Peak has been around for years, can do this sort of stuff. Yeah, anyway, cool. Something to play with during the week, I guess. I'm going to have to go because my wife has just knocked on the door and said that the dog's been a bit naughty, so to go find out what she's up to. Yeah, and it's also after midnight anyway, so yeah.
I'm glad the dog is well enough to be naughty, though. That's a good thing.
Yeah, dog's good. Dog's fine.
Yes.
And being naughty is good, so don't worry about it. All right, guys.
It's a good naughty.
We will leave the show at this. We've done the quiz, we've done everything, so I think we're all good to go. So, yeah. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks, Steve, for joining us. Always nice to have you, buddy.
No worries.
Yep, Dave, glad you're in the studio.
Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
See everybody. Enjoy your week and catch you next week. Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye-bye.